Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Know Your Gear live podcast number 229. And I hope you guys had a great week. It's a short week this week, I think. Well, if you're in the United States, it was. It was a 4-day week for a lot of us. Well, not me, but you guys. So hopefully it was a good short week since we saw you guys last Friday. And a lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of questions I can see and a lot of comments, including some. I grabbed a super chat from last week that was at the end of the show that I couldn't get to as I was fading out of the show. And but today I thought I would start with a couple things first. As always, if you're new to the live show and you want to ask me a question or start a subject, put the question mark first. I know that way I know it's directed towards me. Also, you can super chat. And like I said, I try to make sure I get to all the super chats. I try. That's my goal every week, to make sure I get to those, even if it puts us in bonus time. And then also, if you're watching the rebroadcast, I'll timestamp all the subjects and stuff. So if there's anything interesting that you're interested in, you can go right to that. And of course, if you're listening to it as a streaming podcast, thank you for listening. Okay, let's talk about some stuff. I can see a lot of things you guys are already interacting about, but I wanted to get something out of the way, something that you guys may not know about. So, weird week this week. My week started, or should I say it ended last week with being told that the Namm show for 2021 in January at the Anaheim Convention Center is canceled. So I was told I got this, I started getting texts from friends who, obviously work in the industry or own companies in the industry. And that moved very quickly. So, into what really happened, which is, let me share with you right now, which is, bam, the Namm show for next year I thought is going to be different. Obviously, the Namm show for 2022 is going to be June 3rd through the 5th in California at the Anaheim Convention Center. So I think what we could obviously glean from this is that there will be only one Namm next year. There won't be a winter Namm at the beginning of the year, obviously. And that's and the summer Namm will now be in California. So what I got from this. Now, of course, I didn't reach out to the Namm to quantify all this stuff to make sure it's qualified. But obviously, this is from Namm's site. This is what I understand. We're going to have one Namm next year, and it will be in California, but it'll be in the summertime. So that's interesting because that kind of goes back to what is funny about this was everyone I talked to, all 5 people, but it was all of them, all 5 people I talked to in the industry about the Namm being canceled during the early part of this week and the end of the last weekend. They all said the same thing verbatim to me. I go, oh, the Namm show's canceled. Or I'd say, like after the second, third time, like, yeah, that's what I heard. They all said, yeah, there's no need for Namm anymore. It's over. So literally it was like, yeah, there's no interest. My understanding is Fender wasn't going to Namm. And I don't know if Fender's going to the June one. So it was interesting to me to hear that it was like, oh yeah, Namm's kind of over. It's kind of this outdated thing. It doesn't need anymore. This is essentially the manufacturers and retailers telling me this. And then now it got moved, and of course in June. So it'll be interesting. I think this is a smart decision to be one Namm show for the year. I think it's smart. Obviously push it back because of the COVID stuff into June. California in June. Hopefully by next year, better. Sailing better seas, I hope. And of course, on top of that, I think going to one Namm show is a smarter idea. But this will be interesting because there won't be a January show. Like I said, not even a virtual one, I don't think. So interesting. But I thought I'd give you guys the updates. What's up with that? So now you know. You're the first or the 23rd to know that there's one Namm show next year. So if you start hearing rumors that it got canceled, it looks like Namm moved it. Technically, it got moved. And then any comments or questions on that? While you guys are maybe doing that, I'll look at some of the stuff I see. Ragnar666, of course, says, Phil, do you have any reverse headstocks? I do. In fact, my Nuno guitar right there is a reverse headstock. And then after that, I don't know. I don't know. That's my one. My Solar is reverse headstock, and there's got to be another one, but I don't know. I like reverse headstocks. If all my guitars came reverse headstock, I would like it. My first real guitar, so my JB Player guitar was my first guitar, which was, a very entry-level used guitar on top of that. So it was a cheap Fender Strat knockoff that was a lower price guitar. My second guitar was an Aria Pro 2, and it had a reverse headstock, and I loved it. In fact, that was the main thing I loved about it, was I just thought reverse headstocks were cool. I always thought they were cool. They technically are supposed to have a function too, but most of the reverse headstocks I own have Floyd Roses. So anyways, while you're doing that, any chatter? I'm just looking to see if there's any chatter about the Namm show. I kind of don't see a whole lot of excitement talking about the Namm. No one really cares. Michael says, how would I fix the Namm? Well, the Namm's issues are deeper than just on our level, which is I can make content there. You guys are watching content, and you can watch videos of the Namm show. To be honest with you, the Namm show it's a problem. It's got so many problems of what it is. I don't know how to even kind of start, because as retailers want. Let's see. I don't know if you could fix it. Actually, I'm actually okay with it going away. I'd like to go. Don't get me wrong. I like to go, especially on the YouTube platform. It's a much more fun experience for me doing this than it was as a dealer, because as a dealer, it was just all meetings. I think I've told you guys this boring story before. When I was a dealer, every year we would go, I would do all the meetings all day, and I would equate that to going to the Namm show. For me was like going to a timeshare pitch, but like 20 of them. So every meeting was like, this is what we're doing this year. This is what you need to buy in. This is the requirement. As a dealer, everything's about, if you're dealing with new gear, everything is about your requirements. This is what you have to do. This, it's very common in a lot of industries. It's not just our industry, but, boss is like, if you want this pricing, you got to buy this many pedals and you got to buy this many cubes. And then, of course, Fender's like, this is what you need to buy in. And this is the levels. Everybody just wants to tell you the rules in which you need to participate, everything from how much the dollar amount you have to buy to, then of course by category, that what you have to have and what you'll get. And then when I started going to the Namm in 2004, there were deals. You would go to the Namm. That's what you went there for as a dealer. You went there for the deals. You went in there like, hey, like I'm sorry, I apologize. Schecter would always run great deals. They would be like, I think if you bought 8 guitars, they'd give you 1 for free. And if you bought 16, you got 2 for free. Do the math, it makes sense. But, and that was great for, as a small dealer, as a mid-sized dealer, you know what I mean? Because you're like, that's a good deal. Oh, you get free freight. And a lot of times the deals could be terms. So for instance, Schecter, I believe, would also go, hey, we'll ship you, let's say I think I bought like 16 guitars. They'll give you 2 guitars. You know what I mean? They're lower price guitars, but they were cool guitars you could sell. And of course, if you sell both those guitars, you'll make $600-700 between the two of them. And that's, adds to the profit line. But they'd also give you terms like 30, 60, 90. In other words, let's say the bill came to like $9,000. They'd say, okay, we'll break that over 3 payments. So you got a $3,000 payment every 30 days. It's a lot easier to deal with. That's a great reason to be at the Namm. And it just so happened they had Sinister Gates and Zachy Vengeance, signing autographs. You'd get in line, you get, preferential treatment as a dealer. You make sure you get in the line and got signatures, which I did. That was cool times. That slowly, and it's not Schecter, I'm just saying that was a good deal that Schecter used to do. But slowly over time, the Namm show became like from the deals. It went from the deals, which they were there, to the, it started sounding more like this over the years. Like, hey, we're raising the prices February 1st, but if you order everything today, you get it for last year's pricing. And you're like, great. So my nose is itching. So my discount is that I don't get to pay the new price. Great. So, and actually for me, sometimes it was the Namm show was a detriment for me, not the Namm show specifically, because some manufacturers would have your yearly buy-in to be a dealer, and then what they would do is your dealer agreement would end on the end of that year. So let's say the 31st of December. Then on the 1st of January, you wouldn't have a dealer agreement. And usually you could order something. But what I mean, like, I'll give you an example. Fender, maybe this is interesting, you guys. So with Fender, I would always be a top tier Fender dealer. So I'd buy all the lines down, buying as deep as I could. And they would give you obviously better discounts, better deals, access to more stuff. And what happens is that agreement would end on the 31st of December. Now, on the 1st of January, I could order Fender all day long. I just wasn't getting my free freight deal, or I wasn't getting my extra discounts. So I would need to re-up. Well, that's great. I could re-up, but a lot of times Fender would come back to you and say, oh, yeah, we got your order for re-up, but you can't submit it till the Namm show. So we would go a couple weeks where if anyone wanted a special order guitar, walk in our store and go, hey, we can order, say, hey, can I get an Eric Johnson Strat? I'd have to order it, and it would suck for me because I wasn't getting my normal deal on that guitar. I was paying a little bit more. I was paying the freight. I was paying the deal. So there was some things about that it sucked as a dealer. As a YouTuber, it's pretty good situation. You just walk around, take video stuff, do some selfies. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with it as a YouTuber. The problem, of course, the only downfall for most channels like me is, what it costs me to go there. You can't make that in videos. You know what I mean? If you did, like, if I give you an example, if I did 10 videos and each video made $100, I made $1,000, but it cost $1,500 to go there. You know what I mean? So it costs you $500 to go there, but there's other reasons to go. But I mean, that's the only downfall of that. But those days were kind of ending in 2020, the last Namm show. I actually came back and it was a very profitable experience. It was very good for me. And then COVID. So, and then Somewhat Handsome says, what company are you most hyped for Namm 2022? Also, can't they do a virtual tour like Comic-Con did? They did a virtual Namm this year, 2021. In January. I did the virtual Namm. For you guys, for those of you diehards of the channel, I did a bunch of videos from the Namm show. My problem with the virtual event, I thought the virtual event was amazing. I thought Gibson did a great booth. I totally loved the virtual event. For me, it wasn't easy to make that content because there was a lot of searching for the information. But I could I created it. If you look at those videos, I built them and put them up exactly like I was doing booth reviews. I was just virtually. To me, you could argue it's not the same as being there. Also, I could argue that it's not the noise there, so it's a lot easier. It was a lot easier to do overdubs and stuff. My only issue with the 2021 Namm show was that virtually, the virtual Namm. My problem with the virtual Namm was virtually nobody was there. Fender didn't go. A lot of manufacturers didn't go to the virtual event, and some of the ones that went don't understand how a virtual event works. Part of the appeal of the event for me was I could go to a virtual room and chat online with somebody and get questions answered like, hey, I see you're releasing this new thing. Can you answer some questions? But a lot of times you go to chat and there was nobody there because they didn't have anybody manning that virtual booth. So that was my only complaint, was that the manufacturers weren't using it either properly or at all. So I don't think there'll be one in January, but we'll see. I would like it if there was one. If there's going to be one in this January 2022, I will do it again. I will do what I did last year. I'll go to all the booths and give you guys first look at stuff. Hold on. Give me a second, guys, as I peruse your stuff. But as far as at the core of that question of fixing the Namm show, it's not that I think it's fixed. It needs fixing. It's just, like I said, it works for some manufacturers, it works for some dealers, and it's not working for some. And that's just the sign of the times, man. The internet has made things pretty easy to get information, to get pictures, As you guys know, when a new product comes out, one of the things is, if you're watching and you're hanging out with me weekly on Friday, it means you're probably watching a good amount of YouTube at some extent. And that means every time a product's released, because there's 50 YouTube channels pushing it, makes life pretty easy. You know what I mean? You're not missing stuff, and that's what I'm trying to say. It's hard to miss a new product nowadays. Very rarely, I think, even if you're not into knowing what all new the products are, every week, what comes out this week, I think even if you don't want to know about new products, I think you have more of a sense of it than probably, anybody else. Let's see. Mike Jones, he's saying pretty shady. He's talking about how I was talking about when I was the dealer buy-in stuff. He says pretty shady how they manipulate dealers like that. Somebody should become an unauthorized dealer, sell stuff but not be authorized. Well, the reality of that is, like I said, companies do what they can get away with, right? So, for instance, let's be fair. Boss had a bunch of rules that I didn't like them, but it's just like Fender. I didn't like their rules. Gibson's rules. Gibson had rules about stocking profiles. Gibson not only had like stocking profiles, but of course you had to commit for the year. You know what I mean? Gibson was like, you had to do $80,000 to be a Gibson dealer. We had to do $80,000 of product for the year. That's the way to guarantee them. But it was broken into $20,000 increments quarterly. So you didn't have to pay for them $80,000 up front. You'd pay for $20,000 every quarter, and even that came on a net. In other words, they were shipping product, and then it was become due later, 30 days later, sometimes 90 days later, depending on the deal. And but they were also specific to what categories you had to have: certain amount of Epiphones, certain amount of Gibsons, certain amount of accessory items, a certain amount of parts. You'd have to do that stuff, and you'd also have to. I think your first opening order always had to be in stock stuff. So, like for instance. I'm sure that's a nightmare now. I'd feel for any of the mid-level dealers that are still holding on to Gibson. Not because, and I'll explain in a second what I mean by that. Because, there's no product right now. So I'm sure whatever Gibson has in stock is probably not doing great. So if they're still doing that deal, I don't know. That would suck. But before I go on any more of this, with these Fender, the Gibson, the Boss guys, you have to understand that stuff sells. It just does. Some smaller shops can't sell that stuff. They have trouble. But, most shops, that stuff not only sales well, it brings in customers because you're listed as a dealer. It also substantiates your store. It just does. People come in, you know what I mean? You think like everybody who comes in the store is going to be like you guys hanging out with me right now. A bunch of, guitar geeks into stuff. And when you put a bunch of weird brands on the wall, they're just going to be like, wow, oh, look at all these brands you never see at Guitar Center. That's not kind of how it goes. The average consumer walks in and it's like, do you have Fender or Gibson? And you're like, no. What do you have? And you're like, Sire, you know what I mean? Which is a great brand, you know what I mean? But, G&L, and they're going to be like, I don't know those brands, you know what I mean? And instead of being excited about new opportunity brands, they're usually like, they're pretty reluctant because they're like, this isn't a legitimate store. So that's the appeal of that. Now that's what I would say then. It used to be the brands made the store. I don't believe that exists anymore, so you guys know. For those of you who own stores out there watching the show, I don't believe that exists. I believe the best model right now in the current market is to have as unique a product as possible in this market, and whether that's because people are walking in or you're selling it online. And some of the best unique products, used gear. So focusing on used. That's always been a staple of the mid-sized, smaller dealers network, but I think it's even more so now. I find that I'm not even really interested anymore in looking in the new stuff in the stores because I'll look at that stuff online. It's the used gear that I want to get my hands on when I'm checking out stuff. Somebody asked me a question. I'm sorry I didn't grab the name, but I saw it really quick about they're going to be in Nashville, and they said, what store would I check out? Yeah, it was actually Chase Parker. Chase Parker says, going to Nashville this weekend, what guitar shop is a must go to? I like Carter's Vintage Guitars. Here's where I would there's a lot of great little stores. There's Gruhn's to me is like, I've said this before, Gruhn's is a great store. You should go there. But for me, going to Gruhn's is like going to probably like the Gibson store that's there too, which is cool. Go. But to me, it's more of like I don't know how to explain it, like go in there, like the Hard Rock Cafe. You just go there and check things out. I'm not going to probably buy anything from Gruhn's. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not in my pay scale, so to speak, and it's not the stuff I'm looking for. So I'll go there as the curiosity. You could definitely say you've gone there. You're going to see some stuff you're not going to see everywhere else. But to me, Carter's Vintage Guitars is a store where I'm like, I walk in there. Sure, they got some crazy stuff. I think I have the picture somewhere. It's probably on my Facebook. There's a picture of me holding a Strat, and that's because I went into Carter's. Last time I went into Carter's, they saw me and they recognized me. They're very nice, and they said, "Hey, Phil, check this out." And they handed me a Strat. Before I knew what happened, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is the Strat that recorded the song Sweet Home Alabama, and it's like worth $400,000." I was like, "Oh, great!" I was like, my face holding the guitar is kind of like excitement and like, please get this out of my hands. And so. And so anyways, but in Carter's guitars, I've always, I bought a really great Boss fuzz pedal there. You know, you can find some cool stuff. And believe it or not, I'm not the biggest fan of Guitar Center stores for obvious reasons, but that Guitar Center is a decent one. If you're going to go check one out, it's got a legit, usually find good stuff there, and it's worth checking out. They got a cool premium room. So it's cool. And then, of course, there's a lot of other smaller stores there, too. But, like, if I was only going to check out one store, like, if you were flying in to Nashville and you could get in a Uber and hit one store, I'd go to Carter's. That's where I would go. Because it's a little bit of pizzazz. It's a little bit of, like, Nashville. Mythos Pedals. The owner of Mythos Pedals lives in Nashville, makes those pedals there, and they sell them there. First time I ever went to Carter's, I bought a Mythos pedal. And it was because it's kind of cool, because if you get one, it's actually from Nashville. So, you know what I mean? It's made in Nashville. It's there. That's kind of a cool experience. And Chase is saying Carter and Gruen was my debate. They're pretty close, by the way, location-wise. I mean, I would go to Carter, and then if you can go up the street, just go to Gruen's. But that's I would go to Carter's. They always, like I said, great. I have a lot of regrets at Carter's. I can almost tell you every guitar that I walked in there and I was like, why didn't I buy that? They have some decent deals. They do a lot of consigning too, by the way, which is cool. So you'll see a lot of Nashville artist stuff consigned in there. So you get to see a lot of crazy stuff. Ben Coombs says Carter's even carries LPD pedals. That would make sense. That would make sense because I think Lawrence and the Mythos guys are friends, and so I would imagine they would be hooked up the same way. Sorry, I'm just looking around. I know I got some questions. Let's just hit some stuff. Okay, ready? What are we jumping into? I got some early riser comments and questions to check out. This is from Liam. Liam says, howdy, Phil. I think it would be great if you review a D'Angelico guitar. I have 4 and the Deluxe Atlantic in Natural Swamp Ash weighing in at 7 pounds, 5 ounces is a guitar I reckon you'd love. So that's an interesting question. Thank you for the recommendation to that brand. I would say that's going to happen. Like I said, sometimes I'm weary on the podcast to talk about what I'm working on currently because sometimes that falls through and then it never happens. And it's not like I think it's a jinx, like I cursed it by talking about it. Just sometimes, it doesn't happen. I can tell you that, like I said, this week coming up, there's a Reverend review that you guys will enjoy. I hope you enjoy. And then I have worked out some guitars with Sweetwater, and D'Angelico is one of those guitars. So they'll be sending one out to the channel for me to review. I was able to talk to them this week. I think I told you I talked to them last week. I talked to them last week and this week. Long story short, they're sending some guitars out so we get to review them on the channel, which has been the long goal of the channel. As you guys know, I've done stuff with Sam Ash, Sweetwater, AMS. I'll continue to do things with all 3 of those stores as much as they're willing to do. But the Sweetwater guys seem to be jumping on a little bit more right now. And so we're going to go down that road for as long as it takes us, which is if they're willing to send products out, I think those are the best videos for me to do because I don't feel any pressure. It's very calm. It's very nice. You know what I mean? They send the product out. I check out the product. You know what I mean? I get to do a video of it. You guys get to see it. So it's a good relationship, and it doesn't have to be one brand. Like you guys know, I've told you guys, a lot of brands that have done videos on this channel, the videos do well, and then they want to send more product. That's great, but then after a while, everybody's like, another one of that brand, another one of that brand. So it's nice if we can change it up. So we worked out something with Sweetwater to get us at least 3 or 4 different brands coming, and that's one of them. Because of that exact thing that you said, I have no idea about them. So I thought it'd be fun to check one out. Scott says, reviewing a Reverend because Sweetwater finally decided to carry them. Well, they sent it. They sent out the one. They got me a current one. The ones I bought, I'll tell you. Here's the funny story. I didn't know. I told the Sweetwater guys this. They laughed, so let's see if you guys will laugh. I got asked to do a lot of Reverend guitars. And now that I've done the one that needs to be done, which is the current model one, right? I have a current model because that's what we talked about. Is I did one that was a USA one. I bought another one that was made in Korea, but it is also discontinued. And the reason is because I bought deals so I could flip them. I bought a USA, let's be very clear, I bought a USA Reverend that cost as much as a new Made in Korea Reverend. I think the new Made in Korea Reverends are fantastic. As you guys know, I think Made in Korea guitars are fantastic. However, you know, I bought guitars that I could get my hands on and, like I said, flip them, sell them for what I paid so that I could not go in the hole making content, right? I'm trying to make content and be, I don't even say profitable because it's not even about that 90% of the time. It's just about not digging a financial hole for yourself. So when I did that one, the problem was that, you know, right now during COVID, and I've said this before with a bunch of videos I did, I have been really paying the price, the COVID price. I did an Epiphone. Epiphone wasn't interested in sending any guitars out, so I bought an Epiphone. I reviewed it on the channel. You got to understand, I say this very, very fairly. G&L did not want to send a guitar out to the channel, so I bought a G&L. Again, there's nothing wrong with them. None of those people have to send us guitars. But I'm just telling you, you guys asked for those guitars. I asked those companies if they were interested. They were not interested, so I bought them. But during COVID, because I want to buy new guitars so that if I don't pick, I don't want to review a guitar that was owned by I'm the sixth owner, and then go look at what they did when I don't know who did what to this guitar. I want new guitars. Especially last year during the COVID market, getting a deal was almost impossible, as you know, right? And so it becomes very troublesome to buy those guitars and then make a video. I use a perfect example, the Epiphone. I bought that Epiphone, I think, for $500 something. That video did 30, 40,000 views, which, as you know, for a review channel is pretty good. That 30, 40,000 views pays about between $50 to $300, depending on the time of year, the market, how many ads were played, how long it was, you name it. On that video, I probably was able to break $200 on that video. And so $200, and then I sold the guitar off for $350 because now it's used. See how this works? And I refused to put a premium on the guitars because I reviewed them. As you guys know, the most I did was some of the guitars I worked on, I sold them for as close to what I paid for them as possible with the add-ons, but I just can't do it, man. I'm sorry. I'm not buying a brand new guitar and then selling to somebody used for the same price just because I'm like, it was on my channel. That's just not how I'm wired. So, long story short, I reached out immediately to Sweetwater and said exactly what you guys can imagine. Viewers want to see Reverend on the channel, and you guys carry it now. Any opportunities for us to exist? And they basically told me, I can't tell you what they told me in confidence. They told me an actual number. They had sold an insane amount of Reverends as soon as you know, as they got them. In fact, so many so that they were very nice. They were like, we would like to send one out. And said they would like to do a giveaway and give away one. They've been doing a lot of giveaways with Robert Baker and a lot of channels. They flat out told me, like, we cannot give this guitar away. It has to come back. So I think because once, they just don't have any guitars. It's not being sold to you guys. I think it's going to Guitar World or other places where they can use it for marketing purposes, right? Just because they just don't have any extra guitars right now. So yeah, that's what happened. Ben Combs says McKnight DNA free with every guitar, used guitar. Yes. So, yes. So I reached out to them again, as you know, to see if they were interested in doing stuff for the channel, and they were. Okay. Ronin67 said, Reverend guitars are cool, but their prices have come up over the last couple years. They are nice, but not quite the bargain they used to be. There's a lot of brands that are not the bargain they used to be. Sure. I would agree with you. I can name a couple. It's obviously Godin guitars, I think, are fantastic, but not the deal that we're used to. I understand what you're saying. Look, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, the statement is what I'm going to say, which is Korean guitars, to me right now, financially are at the level of Japanese guitars, where when Japanese guitars finally hit that premium level. Korean guitars are getting a premium for being made in Korea. They are. There's a lot of reasons why. They make really good guitars. And there's a reason, and this, as you guys know, PRS left Korea for that reason. They went to Indonesia, again, to make the guitars more affordable and keep them in the affordable spotlight. Reverend guitars are made by Mir. It's a fantastic facility in Korea. They make fantastic guitars. And I'm sure the Reverend guys are not willing to move out of that factory since they're getting good results. But because they're not going to move, the prices are going up. The reason I point that out to you is if PRS did not move from world manufacturing in Korea to the Court Tech facility in Indonesia, their guitars would be priced similarly to what you see Reverend's right now. And they almost are, if you think about it. If you look at Reverend, what they're getting $1,000, it's not hard to see a PRS SE for $1,000. So I understand what you're saying. Trust me, that's the downfall of being, that's the downfall. The inevitability is all the prices go up. Whether there's inflation, a different market, it's happening no matter what. So, Hal Cooper says, Sweetwater ads endlessly on YouTube. I told you guys, prepare for it to get worse. If you're seeing a lot of Sweetwater ads, I don't see ads. I pay for YouTube Premium. I highly recommend it to everyone. It's, to me, out of all the things I pay for, whether it's Netflix or something, it's the most expensive, out of whack. Although it's a little nicer now. I think they have a $20 package. I think it's $20. I'm paying $15, I think, with the taxes. $15 for one person, but for $20, I think you get 5 people, which now makes more sense. So at least you can give it to your, family members and stuff. But it's crazy what it's costs. I wish it was more in line, price-wise. But I cannot live with that. I've had it for 2 years and I love it. No ads, no nothing, no problems. I can download videos. My phone has at least 50 videos in it at all times. So if I'm ever anywhere and I'm bored or stuck and there's no internet, I have them right there on my phone. So I like it. But yeah, I would imagine you're going to get a lot more Sweetwater ads. Like I told you guys, you got to understand, I was very clear with you guys the day we talked about the Sweetwater, merger with the private equity firm. Regardless of what everybody thinks might happen in 5 years, which is there's a lot of variables that none of us know, but there's some likelinesses. What I think is going to happen immediately is what I said in that show. They are going to grow super fast. I mean, they were already on a trajectory that was pretty crazy. To add basically, like the saying, right? Kerosene to the fire. I mean, that's what's happening right now. So regardless of what happens later, it's going to be crazy, I would imagine. And I would imagine you're going to see a lot more interaction with YouTubers. I reached out to them after we did that podcast. I reached right out to them. I was sitting there after I told you guys that they're exploding. I said, well, why don't I reach out? And exactly what I anticipated happened. I reached out and said, hey, any interest to send some products out and get some stuff on the channel? And they were like, absolutely. Let's get it out. Let's do it. So we get to benefit from it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Paul says, Paul is saying, Phil, did you know Godans are selling used for a lot more and getting it? Yeah, of course. Everything is right now. The market's still crazy. I told you, it's been slowing a little bit, but it's still crazy. I mean, these are still epic numbers to see in sales. I feel bad. I wish I would have asked. I wish I would have thought to ask the Sweetwater guys when they told me how many Reverends they sold when they first got them. Like, I think the first day. I didn't get, like I said, I treat everything like NDA, non-disclosure, until I usually ask, like, hey, can I tell my audience that? I didn't think to ask them, but I can tell you right now, the only thing I will tell you is I have never in my wildest dreams thought they could sell that many guitars at that price point that fast. That was insane. And I'm sure you guys were going to come up with a bunch of crazy numbers in your head, but let me tell you, it's nuts. Just, you don't need to know the number. Just trust me when I'm telling you. I see how many guitars companies sell. It was nuts numbers to see that and hear that. That's the market at will right now. It's just buying still like crazy. Okay. Okay, I know you guys are talking to each other. I'm just trying to see if you guys are talking about. Fox and the Hound says, I watch your pre-roll ads, Phil. Don't watch my ads. You know, my mother, she unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago, but my mom would tell me, like, I watch every ad. And I'm like, oh, don't watch the ads. Here's why I tell you guys this. Don't watch the ads. If you want to support what I do here, watch all the video. I promise you, I think personally, my worst video is still probably better than an ad. Maybe, right? Watch more of the video. The reason is because here's what you guys do for me. You do for every YouTube channel. The more you consume of the video, you got to understand, when you see my video and you click on that thumbnail and then you start watching it, all those algorithms are kind of working. And the more you support this by watching, that's why I always thank you guys for watching to the end. The more of the video you watch, the more YouTube will share the video, and then the new people can click on the ads. They can watch the ads. As far as and to be honest with you, the ad dollars, it does, dude, it's pennies. Now, granted, it adds up because I get millions of views collectively. You know, it's a decent payout once I collect all this energy up, but never. I don't want any of you to feel like you need to kind of shoulder that burden that way. Don't sit through those ads. Don't sit through any ads. Don't click on ads. Like I said, don't do anything. I appreciate the effort to do something to help the channel. That's why I said, if you want, just enjoy the video. Enjoy it. Maybe hit a thumbs button. Maybe hit a comment. Some of you guys will put for the algorithm. Do that. Put hi. I don't care what you put. Just put a comment. All the interaction will pay a dividend to me somehow, and that's good. It's how my channel. So you know, it's how the channel does so well, or did so well in the beginning and does so well now. My fulfillment rate, which is the amount of people that watch the end, is really high. I've had many discussions over the years with a lot of YouTubers, you know, and when we talk about those numbers, mine seem always to be slightly higher than the average, you know, YouTuber's channel. And, you know, and they always say the same thing. How do you do that? And I really believe this. I think it's just because I tapped into an audience of decent people that just, I don't know. They just want to support what I do. I appreciate it. I can feel that energy all the time. I feel this constant, you know, amazing feeling of you guys just basically wanting to support this. I appreciate it. Oh, okay. I have no idea how to say the name. Tamaracero. How about this? Your last name's Gutierrez. So, okay, Gutierrez says, hey, Phil, do you think guitars produced during COVID are less quality than during pre-COVID era? I mean, if they are rushing now, it is because of less quality. Yes. On what I've seen, I've even gone as far as to tell you guys this in videos, that when I'm coming across issues, it's really tough. I really believe, so let's start with where the easiest part of this answer. I believe 100% that the COVID era guitars are not as good as the pre-COVID ones. When I say not as good, I mean literally more defects coming through, more mistakes coming through, more missed things coming through, everything from just the wrong, you know, it doesn't have the things in the gig bag or the case, to, you know, not set up properly, to maybe more, you know, scratches in the finish from not buffing enough, all kinds of stuff. I've seen it all from everybody. And I've done something, and the reason I want to talk about this is because, so you know, I've had to create some new COVID era type rules for the channel. And I've told you guys this in the videos. I'll say, look, I'll point something out, and then I'll say, normally I'd be harsher on this, but during COVID, and I've had comments where, you know, you guys are very, very kind and like, yeah, that's really makes sense. And then some of you guys are like, why you give them a break? That seems like crap. And the point, what I'm trying to say is not that I'm giving them a break. I'm seeing so much of it that I understand that this is just happening. And I'm really trying to, when I make a review video of a product, I'm trying to set an expectation for you guys, which is why I tell you guys, if you get product and it's not as good as this, or it's better than this, or it's worse than this, or whatever the deal is, put that in the comments. Because I know, and we keep talking about this, and it's never going to go away. It's just one of those things that if you're on YouTube, you're going to talk about it, which is this constant comments about, you know, oh, they knew it was going to you. And I really wish, I don't know how to do this. If any of you have a suggestion, I thought about just using more, just random B-roll cameras in my life. If you would see how most companies really could give two craps about me and my channel, I'm talking about the ones that deal with me, right? A lot of companies, you got to understand, a lot of companies, you guys put way more effort into thinking about this than you need to. A lot of companies that I deal with that get YouTube on a fundamental level, they are essentially people that are checking boxes. They're like, we need 20 YouTubers, and then they get a list because they can get them from Social Blade or other platforms like that. And of course, the channel's got 300,000 subscribers and 85 million views. And of course, it'll tick up on a guitar thing. It'll maybe make the list. And then literally they send it out, the email, and it's like, hey, can we send you this thing? That's what it comes down to. And you're like, yes. And they're like, great, where? You know what I mean? And that's as simple as it goes. And then you're like, oh, and then they make sure it's right for you. Nah, they could give two craps. I've told you right now, without a doubt, I've had more companies. I know for a fact, never watched my video. I've had marketing people. Like I said, I should start maybe doing some documentary-based stuff and then kind of collectively put it out. And the reason why collectively is I don't want to single out one company and hammer on one company because they all kind of do it. I've had companies flat out, they didn't watch the video. So in other words, a company sent a product, I do the video, I send it to you guys. They don't even look at the comments. They don't look at the video. They just respond going, oh, look great, Phil. And I'm like, cool. And then what's funny is they didn't really catch, like, you didn't catch where I said you had a lot of issues. You know what I mean? Didn't you see where I said the frets were sticking out and didn't go well? The video, that didn't seem to bother you. And it's because they didn't even look. So you get used to that. Now, some companies are sensitive, as we talked about. They'll watch a video and get upset, and they'll never deal with you again because you critiqued it too much or whatever. But that's not usually the case. The majority of the manufacturers, I'm a number. I'm just another channel. Very few. Like, that's why I always take the time to notate with you guys. Like John at Bad Cat. Look, John at Bad Cat, he likes the channel. He likes Chapman's channel. I talked to John at Bad Cat, and in that conversation, he talked about why he likes Chapman, right? And I listened, and he was a really cool guy. And so, I did reach out to him, and he's totally going to do a podcast soon with us. So we'll have that for you soon. But my point is, to all this is that during the COVID time period, I have been seeing a lot more issues with guitars. In my personal purchases with guitars and amps, I've seen more issues for sure. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, do I think people are going to look back and go, don't buy guitars in that era? It's possible. It is possible it could be that bad, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. Just by talking about this, which is why I think this is what this podcast does, is these discussions allow you to put comments in, especially after the video is replaying. And I notice when you read those comments, you'll see a lot of people either confirming, like, yeah, Phil, you're dead on. And there's, dozens of those, or I haven't seen it. So we'll see. But I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of comments saying, yeah, a lot of issues. Like I said, I have seen more issues from PRS than I've ever seen the whole time dealing with them. I've told you, it's been crazy. Almost every PRS I've had to make some kind of notation in the video about a mistake or an issue in the guitar or the amp or the thing. This is what's wrong with it, which was never the case before for me. So there you go. Okay. And I know I have super chats. I'm going to get to them and hit some more in a second. I'm just trying to peruse the comments. Okay. It's funny. All right. Let's go to some super chats. Let me grab a couple real quick while I have you guys here. We have, who do we have? We have, Greg says, hey Phil, you said you play quite a bit of acoustic guitar. What's your go-to brand? I mean, I'm pretty boring when it comes to acoustics. I mean, I like my Taylor, I like my Martin. I mean, that's really the sad truth of it. It's just kind of that boring. I'm a huge fan of Cole Clarks, although I don't have one, and that's probably going to be my next acoustic is a Cole Clark. I really like them. They're made in Australia, and they're fantastic, by the way. I don't know if I want an Angel or a Fat Lady. I'm not sure, but I'm probably going to go with the Fat Lady because the Angels sound really good, but the Fat Ladies have that kind of fuller dreadnought boominess sound. But, so I tend to, I have a Taylor 2 series, right? It's a 240, I think. I bought it, picked it up one day, played it, liked it, bought it, and I it's not a cheap acoustic, but it's not like crazy expensive like some of the other ones. And I just, for some reason, I just gravitate towards it. I had a Breedlove before that. I was playing forever, and like I said, I tend to keep my acoustics under control, just a couple, because I live in a very dry climate. If you want a lot of acoustics, you're going to have to take care of them in this climate. And I tend to play it a lot, so it's just it's laying out ready to play all the time. The next one came from Christopher, who says, Christopher Standard Time says, pulled out my DBZ Bolero guitar out of storage, great Les Paul style guitar, but Dean himself appears to often jump ship. Seems he's private reserve now. Any insight? Well, obviously Dean Zalinsky owned Dean guitars back in the 70s or whatever, and then at some point they filed bankruptcy because that's why they were gone. That's why Dimebag had to go to Washburn. There was no Dean. I don't know if some of you may know this. So you have Dimebag. This actually goes to the story of Dean Zalinsky. You have Dimebag, and he's playing Deans, but Dean doesn't exist anymore. And of course, now you got to make a signature guitar. So he ends up with Washburn because somebody has to make it, and Dean doesn't exist. And after that time period of Washburn, then Dean comes back, and I think they hire Dean Zalinsky back on. It's my understanding. Again, I'm sure you could Wikipedia all this stuff. Anyways, so Dean Zalinsky's back with there, and then I guess he leaves there again. Doesn't matter. Maybe he was never with them. But I do know this. He did hook up with DBZ. So DBZ was Diamond amps, and then they made DBZ guitars. And that relationship did not work out anymore for a lot of reasons. I know one of the owners, and he's kind of told me his side, and I've kind of heard all, it's like every story like that, it's whatever. The point is Dean then leaves and starts Dean Z, right? Which has got the Z Glide neck guitars and no longer associated with DBZ. And then DBZ turns into Diamond. And then Diamond sells to World, not World Manufacturing like in Korea, World Distribution. It's a store, I guess, right? I don't know much about them. And they are now Diamond guitars. So there is no more DBZ. So that's it. But so DBZ is Diamond, and then Dean Zalinsky is Dean Zalinsky. And I guess it's called Private Reserve too. That makes sense. Also, I know it's all about those Z Glide necks, which, like I said, feel like pool cues. Wow, is that a thing that I'm saying? Pool cues. I know nothing about any of this stuff. Here's the funny thing about this. So you have Diamond guitars. They've reached out to me. We couldn't make any kind of arrangements. It was just too much. It was one of those, they were asking for too much work, I would like to say free. It was less than free. It was like, it was going to cost me money to basically do it. I wasn't that interested to do the Diamond deal, so I didn't do it. Dean Zalinsky Guitars did reach out to me, and like I've told you guys before, I reached back out to them. I think I even followed up with them, and just they nothing came from that either. It's just part of the deal. But if any of those companies ever want to send out a guitar, I'll definitely do a video for you guys, and we'll talk about them. I'll go through them and let you know what I think. I've done Diamond guitars in the past, but the Diamond guitars I did are dated because they're not the current new Diamond company. They're a different company now. So, yeah, Brian says, Brian S. Guitar says, Diamond makes some cool guitars. I have zero quality what they are. Me too. I have no idea. Like I said, the Diamonds I played are from a different owner, and they might be in the same manufacturer. I just don't know. So I don't know nothing about them. So essentially what happened was Diamond got turned into an in-house brand for World. They're like the Harley Benton now. They're like Harley Benton. They're an in-house brand. Okay, so let's see. And then okay, let's go to the next one. I was just seeing if there's anything on that same subject, but nope. Now, Jeff Parker. What's up, Jeff? He says, hey, Phil, two-part. Okay, easy to replace on an Ibanez. Is it easy to replace an Ibanez Edge bridge with an Ibanez Edge Zero bridge. I haven't done one in probably 10 years, and if I can't tell you off the top of my head what I remember, I think I remember we had to change the position of the posts, the studs, because they didn't line up. I can't remember. What I know is, again, you know what it is? It's back in the day, you used to do a lot of Ibanez stuff, and then slowly Ibanez really divided itself up into the more expensive stratosphere of prestige stuff. And then, of course, you know, then they became the, you know, like the RG350s, which are really good, but they're, you know, in the $300 range. So no one's really was coming to me anymore going, hey, I want to take a $250, $300 bridge and stick it in this $300 guitar. So I know one of them lines up with the Floyds because I've done that and we've redone it, but I can't remember if the Edge Zero will interchange or not. And then he says, then the second part is there a good detuna for the Ibanez tremolo? I have a detuna that is designed for that type of guitar, and I can't really say if it's any good. I've messed with it, and so far it's okay. Like I said, if I ever get it to work right and correctly, and you know, I'm gonna plan to have a video done of it. But the detuna, I wouldn't recommend for that because it's recessed. Derek says, hey, Phil, I now need a Les Paul. All right. We all know that. We all know that feeling to some degree. Just whether insert your favorite thing if it's not Les Paul. How much better is a custom shop versus standard? Custom buckers versus burst buckers. I should just be looking for a used deal on Reverb, ? Seeing a custom shop 2019 for $4,800. Go for it. Look, I really like Gibson custom shop guitars. They're one of the few custom shop guitars where I really think I feel the difference and I hear a difference and I see a difference. I don't want to say that stuff. It's not in my nature to be like, yes, get a private stock PRS and yes, buy this custom shop thing. But for some reason, Gibson custom shop, when I play it, it's like they just, I don't know, they sing, they sound a little better, they play a little better. That being said, notice I say words like little better, little sounds a little better. Can't justify the price, although, like I said, I do have an R9 and an RO. But like I said, they're more of an investment type thing lined up with the fact that I just want to play them. Plus, I had a reason to justify getting them for a project I did. So I can't tell you that they're worth it. You know what I mean? That's the problem with all this stuff. I don't know what kind of reaction you're going to have. I can tell you, like I said, I like to help set expectations. Here's what I'm going to tell you. In my personal experience, there's no $4,800 guitar that's ever made me feel like this is definitely worth that. Will it make you happy? Of course. It's a beautiful guitar. We should all be so lucky to own a beautiful guitar. You know, but if you're buying a $4,800 guitar, it's mostly just because you can just do it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just the reality of things. And then, so, you know, I got to jot back to something. Damaged Android said, search for tone vice for the Edge tremolo. That's the system I'm still working with. So like I said, if you want to buy one of those for your, Ibanez, do that. But I have 3 of them and I've had some very interesting results with them. And I've been trying to with another 2 friends who are, one's a luthier and one's a tech like me, trying to work out what of it is the user error and what of it is the defect in the design of it. And so we're working that out. Like I said, eventually the video will come out either it's great or, you know, here's what we couldn't figure out. But I just wanted to say that because I saw that comment. But back to the $4,800 Gibson. You know, like I said, it's easy. If you got $4,800 and you want a guitar, there's worse things you can do with your money. I would rather buy that than a jacuzzi. So, right. My wife had somebody come out and quote, I think for a door, our door had to be replaced and it was like $5,000. See, I'd rather have that. I had to pay for plumbing in the front yard. That was basically $5,000. I'd rather buy a Les Paul than that. But that being said, you know, the expectation I would set for yourself is it'll be a very, very nice guitar. I just can't tell you it's going to be the greatest thing ever. And that's sometimes if you think you're spending almost $5,000 and you're going to get the greatest thing ever and nothing can touch it, that's not what you're about to have. You're about to have experience of, wow, this is a really nice guitar and it's a little nicer than everything else. There you go. Matthew says, Phil, I think he's in me, says, please check your Ask Know You're Here email for a botched super chat sent on 093. Here's the problem with this Ask Know You're Here. So the issue with the email address thing is really a problem that we don't know how to rectify. As you guys know, I started a pickup company last year. I have not been very vocal about it because like everyone in this industry right now, we're booming. It's been nuts. I can't keep up on what I'm doing. There's always somebody on a back order waiting for something. It's a daily project for me to deal with who's not getting their pickups today, or who's waiting for this, or what's going on with that. And so we've been on it and been doing really good. But keep in mind, I'm still like kind of a one-man operation, which is a little bit of help here and there from my wife. That being said, then the email thing has been, I've talked about this in the past, the email thing I used to have someone helping me with the Ask Know Your Gear emails, and that with help, somebody putting in seriously 20 hours a week help, we were still not able to stay on top of it, but we were close. I haven't had help in over a year and a half. So a lot of the time when you guys say, hey, check this email, that's like, it means nothing to me. I mean, I'd have to search, and even then I can't find it. It is tough. It's just part of this gig. It's because when you guys see, like I said, it's something that you can't anticipate. If you're a smaller channel, I want you to be prepared for this. What happens is your catalog of videos and everything, for me, it's like 1.something million, like 1.2, 1.5 million views per month on YouTube is what the channel does actively. So you might see a couple videos and one's got 10,000, one's got 50,000 views, one's got 30,000. And maybe your brain thinks that's what percentage of people are probably reaching out to me, but it's a percentage of the whole thing. And so, yeah, emails, I miss out on emails all the time, and I just wanted to be clear so you understand how bad it is. I have emails where flat out they were probably the most amazing opportunity I could ever wish for, and then I discover it like 3 months later. I don't know how to get that sorted out. We don't see any kind of real fix anytime soon. So to answer Matthew your question, I will look. But if you had a botched super chat, it had to be from that 1 week where YouTube had done that, and I grabbed as many of them as I can, and I will try to go back through the super chats and see if there's anything I collectively didn't see. But like I said, that was a weird thing. We still never got explained why YouTube botched that all up for all the channels, but it did. It was that week. Chewy153QT, he just did a jumping emoji thing. I appreciate that. It's a super sticker, but like I said, they make me laugh. I appreciate it. Grumpy My Guitar, he says, he wants to know if I'm thinking of abandoning the stick figures, although I kind of like the little... So I sent a logo, a viewer made a logo for the patrons. No, the stick figures things, like, what am I wearing? I'm wearing the guitar logo. The stick figures are never going to go away. They're like indoctrinated as the logo of the channel. I think it embodies the nerdness of it. So no, but anyways, what Grumpy Mike's talking about, he's talking about the fact that the patrons get to see weird ideas. I'll send out ideas, and I sent out an idea this week of a viewer had an idea for a logo as a different logo. I think about all the time adding new logos, but never really taking the old ones away. Buzz Wilson said, greetings, Philip. He says, looking into building a humbucker single Strat and splitting the humbucker. Will this work very well using a PAF? Should I use something else? Yeah, in the bridge it will. See, when you split the PAF, it depends on whose PAF it is and what it does, and you know what I mean. Not what it does, whose it is. Different brands just have a different tone for the split. However, in the humbucker position of a Strat, it's gonna be nice. Is what I'm gonna say, because. Even though it's a bright position and it's going to have a low output, and so therefore it's going to be even brighter, I think it works. So yeah, I would do it. I can put it this way, in my Strat, if I was coil splitting the bridge, I would probably use a PAF style pickup. Okay. Barney says, what does Barney say? He says, what are your thoughts on the Gibson Custom Shop 60th Anniversary 1959 reissue Les Paul standards? Say that twice as fast. What are my thoughts on the 60th anniversary? Was that 2016? Is that what I'm thinking that is? Right? 2016? I don't really specifically have any feeling about it necessarily one way or another. Like I said, I like the Gibson Custom Shop. I like the 59 Les Paul Custom Shop. My thing is this, every 59 Custom Shop Les Paul I've ever picked up, I can't, like I said, I'm never going to say it's the best guitar ever. It's just, it is a vibe. It's what Gibson gets to take part in, you know. It's not a real vintage guitar. It's a recreation, but because it's such an iconic guitar, when you plug in, it just has this feeling to it. I have not tried the Epiphone 59 Les Paul. Again, like I said, Epiphone's not interested in sitting any guitars out, but I would buy one. I haven't been able to find one relatively easy. You know what I mean? You know, so I've tried a few times and they've been out of stock, as you know, because the COVID. And I haven't looked recently. Maybe I poke around again. Maybe they're starting to pop in. I've noticed the inventory, of course, everywhere is popping in a little bit more and more. Happy Go Lucky. I just saw this question. It's not directed to me, but I'm going to take it. Happy Go Lucky says, anyone use Guitar Rig 6 line for bass? Looking for a good growly P sound. I use Guitar Rig 6 for a lot of stuff. That's the software I use the most. And I'll run my bass through it. I run, like I said, a preamp pedal into my interface into that software, and then I just find a good bass tone out of that. But yeah, you can do that. You can get a really good growly P bass tone out of that. So I just thought I'd confirm just because I saw it. Oh, Duke Neutron says the Epiphone R9 is brilliant. I spent almost a year, looking for one, and he loves it. Yeah, well, like I said, I tried to find one. I thought, man, since I have a Gibson R9, I thought, wouldn't this be a great comparison? You know, compare those two guitars in a video to see, you know, and then give you like some feedback, like what do I think what's the deficiencies of each one, what's the benefits of each one, but just couldn't do it, and AMS, so you know, Greg at American Music Supply was willing to send one out, but they just didn't have one in stock. So Greg tip a hat to Greg at AMS. He was really trying to get some Epiphones on the channel, but just again, no stock at hand to do it. Okay. Hold on. It's always quiet when I'm reading. Okay. So it takes only a second for it to get just kind of really, really quiet. They did a super chat for no reason. I appreciate that. Or he did a winky sticker. Okay. I have no idea. I'm going to say phi. Okay. It says, hi from NZ. Any thoughts on boutique solid metal bridges for tunematic styles? True Arc, Compton, I think that's right. Calham. Yep. Didn't even make a difference. I mean, like I said, I've installed so many of these kind of, you know, exotic bridges on so many guitars over the years. And bridges to me are fundamentally about two things. The feel of how it feels against my hand. That's like, for me, that's 90% of it right there. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good the bridge sounds. If it just pokes me or it doesn't feel great on my hand, I don't like it. The other thing is, you know, as you guys know, I like the guitars to be on the lighter side. So if you adds a lot of weight to the guitar, then I'm not really big on that too, because then I have to find even a lighter guitar. Do they work? I think they work. I think they add more sustain and stuff. But, you know, there's a little bit of, I'm never looking for the holy grail of tone. I'm looking for a great tone that I can use in a comfortable guitar that sounds great, plays great. Really plays great is really the thing. So, maybe we need to do more of those bridges on the Sharp Max videos. Like I said, I have a couple of those coming out soon, so we'll see where those go. Chloral Beck says, super late. You're late? We didn't even know. You don't cop to being late. You don't know you're late. This is the perfect timing. You just got here just in time. He says, saving up to buy an Epiphone 3 for 35. Any options if it's worth it, or maybe even to plec it? Also read that they were probably doing a review. Also read that you were probably doing a review on a 335, but don't know. I will be reviewing 2 335s, and neither one of them will be Epiphones, unfortunately, because of what I said. I have a Sire 335 right here behind me. Ooh, look at that. The video is done. I've been trying to. It's been horrible. As horrible can go. I have a lot of videos ready. They're done. They're just sitting around. I can't post them because, as you guys know, I've been trying to post them when companies have product in hand, so that you can actually get your hands on some, or any product. I don't know. So like I said, there's just none right now. So I think the Sire videos will be soon because they were nice enough. They sent some out, but they don't have any product. It's kind of a weird thing. And I had actually done a couple videos and not paid attention. A company sent out a product and I just did a video and I put it out, and then you guys would say, oh, there's nowhere to buy this. And I was like, oh, crap. So, and the other 335 style guitar, I don't want to say what it is yet, but it's not an Epiphone. But again, like I said, I would love to do an Epiphone. That's another thing. Like I said, tip my hat to Greg at AMS. He was really busting his ass trying to get me a 335 Epiphone because, especially we were trying to do it last year because I have a 2020 Gibson ES335. So I was trying to get a 2020 Epiphone 335 and do a straight shot comparison to the two guitars. I could still do it, but the problem was, like I said, there's just nowhere to get the 335 Epiphone from, so I couldn't do the comparative video. And so, like I said, it's not going to happen. There you go. Funny enough, when talking to the Sweetwater guys, Epiphone would be great. Again, I would love since we couldn't get any from AMS to get on the channel, maybe we get some from Sweetwater on the channel. However, they had Gibsons to send, so we're going to be doing some Gibsons, some different Gibsons, but that's what I'll have some videos on the channel of from those guys, but not Epiphones. So, like I said, like I told you guys before, I will buy Epiphones and get them on the channel. I just got to find them. Josh Smith says, hey Phil, I am procrastinating selling my Duesenberg on Reverb. I know that feeling. I have a pile, I'm not exaggerating, of stuff right outside the door of this room that my wife even said, what is this pile here for? And I'm like, this is the stuff that I need to sell on Reverb. and now it's probably a lot of stuff. So I understand. I don't want to do it. Reverb's horrible. It's just, I don't want to sell on Reverb. It's been a headache. Says, I know the price point it will move at, but it sucks because it plays way better than that. Not a question. I'm just bitching. See, Josh, you're bitching right after I did my bitching. Yeah, I agree. I thought about, and I'll let you guys know next week. I thought about listing a bunch of stuff on Reverb and then literally telling you guys about it on the show and letting you guys look at the stuff and then giving deals, and then but the deals would be to you guys instead of just random people who, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I've decided to do. So we'll see if I do that because I have to give you guys deals. Here's why. Because everything I'm going to sell is really cool stuff. Like really, it's expensive, nice stuff. So I'd like to hook you guys up. Maybe get a situation where, somebody can get something that they normally couldn't get their hands on. We'll see. Michael McFarland says, 2005 PRS Custom 22 with grounding issues. Fails several continuity tests. No local tech will take the job. Why? It's not that hard. It's a guitar. Advantage StewMac PRS wiring kit versus over $500 for PRS factory repair. Don't buy in that PRS factory crap. You can buy all the parts and put it together yourself. PRS doesn't manufacture their own switches and stuff, and so there's nothing that they can give you proprietarily that's going to be super different. The only time I'd maybe recommend getting their stuff is if you're getting that rotary switch. I will buy their pickup frames because I like those, you know what I mean? Because they're slightly different. But like a potentiometer and stuff, I wouldn't do any of that stuff. Yeah, if you want to get the StewMac one, actually don't forget there's also, besides StewMac, there's also other companies out there. 920D Customs, literally 920, the number 920, then the letter D Customs. They have good deals. There's tons of places where you can get a drop-in kit that will be as quality. Price it out there. But that, like I said, don't buy a $500 wiring kit from somebody. That just makes me sad. It's too much. But yeah, and here's what I'm saying. If you have grounding issues and you can't solve the problem, yeah, if you gut everything and start from fresh, then, it's going to do it. I will sometimes do that. It's a trait I learned in the Army, which is sometimes, in the Army, sometimes you spend too much time diagnosing a problem, so swapping a part was just a smarter move. Especially in a situation where no one's ever shot at me while I was working on anything, but that would be the scenario that they would be worried about. A little bit of that traveled with me through my years, and sometimes I don't do it often because I'm usually pretty, what do you call it? I'm usually trying to save the customer some money. You know what I mean? I'm trying to always be a little, I don't know, thrifty. That's the word, maybe. I'm trying to be thrifty, so I'm trying not to cause a lot of money issues. But sometimes if I see a situation where maybe replacing something like that, like a whole thing like that, is going to take me an hour and versus I could spend 2 hours diagnosing and still not come up with what the problem is, sometimes it's easier. So there you go. But the other thing you can do is you can just, before you buy a kit, it's again, depends. It's time versus money, right? What do you have more of? If you have more money than time, then go with the kit. If you have more time than money, I'd pull all the guts out of that guitar and then reassemble it outside the guitar and then test it external and then drop it in like a kit. You could probably do it that way. So Todd says, hey, Phil, I'm looking for a travel size guitar, thinking about a mini acoustic or a baritone ukulele. Any advice? I have a 6-string ukulele, Gretsch. I like the 6-string ukuleles, as you know, but I also just got the Taylor Mini and put the high vibe system in it, and I really liked that as a little acoustic. It was fun. I took it over a friend's house last week, about a week ago, and it was really cool. That's the one I like. There's a lot of great little mini acoustics out there, but that's the one I like. It's a Taylor. You can get them for $300 and something bucks. Not cheap, but it's not going to break the bank. I think, just to be honest with you, unless you're looking at, there's probably some more affordable brands that are good, but definitely got to factor in the gig bag. The gig bag, the Taylor gig bag is really, really nice quality gig bag. This is a big deal because I actually used to sell a lot of, stuff. And one of the things we would constantly get from companies is there was always another company with a new affordable travel size acoustic. And what I kind of learned from that experience selling them to customers was that never the guitars were the problem, but a lot of companies, man, they chintz out on that gig bag and they sell you crap. And so you're constantly dealing with stuff. My Gretsch 6-string uke, which is not an inexpensive ukulele, its gig bag fell apart on me. Even Gretsch kind of gave you a shady little crappy bag. So that's one thing I factor in. When I know the Baby Taylor is not, inexpensive, but I would say the gig bag is a $75 to $100 gig bag that comes with it, quality-wise. At least in mine is. The one I got seems pretty good. Matt says, Phil, do you recommend... What is this? Wait. Detensioning. Okay. Okay. Do I recommend detensioning the strings on a guitar when adjusting the truss rod, especially on an acoustic? Well, acoustic is a different game than an electric guitar. Okay. So to adjust the truss rod on acoustic, it depends. See, to me, every answer just can't be a straight yes. Like, yes, never do this and always do that. To me, if I have an acoustic and I have to do a slight, because you gotta understand, a lot of truss rod adjustments are very minor. I mean, very minor. You know what I mean? We use terms like quarter turn, and that's really too much. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times it's just this little movement. That's it. That. And then you wait. I don't know why. I don't know why everybody has a problem with the wait part, especially on acoustic. To me, you adjust the truss rod and you wait a few seconds. I mean, it's going to feel like a minute, but it's like 20 seconds. And then it's because especially if you're loosening, you got to let everything kind of relax. You know what I mean? And then same thing when you tighten, just let it all kind of adjust a little bit. It just takes a second. It's almost like, I want you to think of it like when I adjust any truss rod, I kind of think of it, and it's not always the case. Sometimes it's instantaneous and perfect, but I always like to think everything's like in a 30-second lag. I make the adjustment, wait about 20, 30 seconds, try it out, making an adjustment, right? I've told you guys before stories, some luthiers and some repair techs, they'll say hours, days, years, whatever. I've found just that works, 30 seconds. But that being said, would I loosen or would I detension the guitar if I was going to turn the truss rod like a half turn, a full turn? Sure, I might do something like that. It also depends on the guitar. You can get a sense of a guitar very quickly. You know what I mean? Let me give you an example. Some guitars, just because they're old, maybe because of the way they're constructed, maybe the abuse you've seen them take, right? Because you just tell somebody's like, some musicians don't baby their guitars. Some of them, abuse them, which is fine. It's their tool. They can use it however they want. But you tend to be careful. You know what I mean? So I tend to be that same way minded. If I think I can get away with it, I'll do it. But like I said, I have to be confident. Like, this is going to be easy. I'll make this adjustment. I don't need to go through stuff. Some stuff I might actually, like you said, detension. I might like loosen the strings completely before making adjustments. It just depends. Also, sometimes I'm paying attention to the nut because, again, I don't want the nut to crack. One of the things you will learn if you work on guitars is you will learn that sometimes you can break more things than you fix. You know what I mean? You make an adjustment, the nut chips or cracks, right? That's a worse problem because now what could have been a 20, 30-minute adjustment setup, quick setup, is now 30 to 50 minutes of you sanding and shaping a new nut. So, depends. So that's what I'm saying. Although I hate answers like this where it's just wishy-washy all over the place, I feel it's the best information to give you. Depending on the situation, I have different approaches. That's why when I make videos, and let me tell you, the Stu Mac guys were the first to pick up on my videos before anyone else caught this. They were watching my videos repairing things, and they noticed exactly that. They were, when we first I ever met them, we had coffee at a Starbucks. We were talking about the fact that I had approached different guitars differently. So not every video was the same way. I wasn't doing the same type of thing because that's exactly it. On a PRS core guitar, I don't have to make so many concessions. The guitar is built really well. It can take a lot of abuse. That's, you know what I mean? It's make easy adjustments. Where some guitars, like I said, the neck's thin, it's going to move. So there you go. Dave says, I don't watch ads, but I do this. Dave, what's funny about this is, here's the irony of my life, of the YouTuber's life. You just super chat me $5. I don't even want to think what it takes to make $5 on YouTube ads, but to give you a reference of my best guess of how many 1-minute ads you have to watch complete to make me $5. Not views on a video, like actual ads. Well, it would probably have to be about 2,000 ads. That would be my guess. And so obviously 2,000 people have to watch a full 1-minute ad for me to make $5. So I'm telling you, I really appreciate that $5 because I do. YouTube is making money 1 penny at a time, but it adds up, but it's 1 penny at a time. I feel very fortunate to be able to make money on this platform in any way. And I also do not step over a penny anymore because I'm like, wow, that's like 1,000 views. Let me grab that off the parking lot. Anyways, Hanner Gunson. Hey, Hanner, what's up? I haven't seen you in a while. Hanner Gunson says, what do you think about crap? Gotta go. I appreciate that, Hanner. That's always funny, as always. Thank you. Okay. I loved it. That was more for me. Tim says, Phil, are you the man? I am the man. Who? The song, right? No. Says, Phil, are you the man? Do your kids and wife know how awesome you are? How awesome my guitar collection is. See, not how awesome I am. Do my wife and kids know how awesome my guitar collection is? No. They could care less. My wife knows what it costs because, she's my accountant. My kids have no reference. I tested my daughter one day. I don't know why she came in my office. She probably was asking me for money, maybe. And so maybe I was holding over her head like, sure, yeah, I'll give you $20. But and I asked her, which is the cheapest guitar and which is the most expensive guitar in the room? And she answered, here's what's funny. I should tell you this. It's funny. Ola England Solar guitar, the orange Solar guitar I had, she decided that was the most expensive guitar I owned. So I was like, oh, very cool. Nice thing. And the cheapest guitar I owned was the Relic Friedman that I don't have anymore because I've got a new Friedman. But that's not Relic. But anyways, so it's funny. I was like, oh, great. So the most expensive guitar, price tag wise, was the one she thought was the cheapest. So no, they don't look at it that way. They don't care. Frederick says, by the way, also, you got to understand, there's another element that maybe some of you don't experience with this. My kids and my wife also don't see this as my hobby, and they don't see it as like my thing I collect. They like, to them, this is like, I don't know what, I don't have an analogy for you guys. Like I would imagine if somebody is a plumber, please excuse the analogy. Let's say you're a plumber and you have a work truck in front of your house that's worth like $80,000 worth of tools or something like that. And you like the question, see, in your world, you're like, do your kids know how cool this collection of stuff is? My kids, it's like, yeah, I get it. Dad's work truck's worth a lot. That's how they look at this. Everything I have, like my tools, all this stuff, this is just all Dad's stuff that he works with. My house has been like this forever. It's always full of boxes. There's always boxes, guitar unboxed everywhere, an amp somewhere, whether it's for reviews or for repairs or for some project I'm doing. So they don't really have a reference of it. To them, this is just the thing that I do. It's a daily job. So to them, it has no excitement to them at all. And they kind of look at it that way. Like, they don't look at it like, unfortunately, I might have done the wrong thing. I might have, like, they don't look at this and go, Dad, that's joy. They look at it and they go, oh, Dad's working. It's like, to me, that's the one benefit I do get. I bet you very few people get to say this. When I'm playing an amp or checking out guitars or playing stuff or working on stuff or even recording or doing anything, whatever I'm doing, they're like, oh, Dad's working. He's working. You know what I mean? So that's kind of nice. Jay Carr says, I have an American Ovation Elite, late 90s, and the preamp died. Oh, yep, that sucks. Is there a good replacement that's easy to install for a non-luthier? It depends on the preamp because, of course, that's the downfall. The last, I'd say 2010s forward, life has got a lot easier because manufacturers have just finally kind of got onto the idea where maybe we should just all get the same like Fishman model and standardize this. And even then, it's far from that. Okay. But the problem is that a lot of the stuff that you have in there, you know what I mean? I don't know because I'm not looking at it. It could not fit half the stuff out there. What I will tell you, if you do have a guitar that is got a preamp, a weird shaped preamp, or something like that, first of all, it's probably almost never worth having it fixed. Having it looked at is not having it fixed. So if you can take it to a local repair person who could take a look at it and maybe they have a bench fee, right? So that's what you're looking for. I think that's a fair world, like $15 bench fee. Sometimes I'll have a bench fee, like, if it's reasonable, take a look at the guitar, and then they do that thing where it's like, okay, I know what's wrong with it. I can fix it. It's $100 and I'll apply the $15 bench fee to that. Or, I know what's wrong with it. It can be fixed and it's $15 and I'll tell you, right? So there's that kind of deal. So look for that. However, and of course, I'm assuming you'd have checked the battery and all that kind of stuff, right? There's some basic stuff that you need to do. Obviously, make sure the battery's checked. But the other thing is another suggestion I might suggest to you is if you can't cut a new hole in the guitar, put in a new preamp and go through all that way, one of the things I really recommend is you can get an external preamp. Obviously, there's preamp pedals. There's all kinds of external preamps that you can get for your guitar that go on the floor. And like I said, a lot of them are going to be like pedals. And what you can do is bypass the transducer pickup that's probably under the saddle of the guitar. In other words, sometimes you're lucky, it's just an 1/8" little plug, or it's connected to that preamp. You disconnect that and wire it straight to the output jack. That is something that you can do with very little experience, as long as you can operate a soldering iron. And so now you'll get the transducer, the piezo pickup, straight to the output jack, no preamp or anything off the guitar, but you'll have a pedal outboard to do that. And that's another way you can do that. And then one day, if the guitar is worth it to you, then you can have it fixed, or, you know what I mean? So that's a quick fix. I've suggested that many times with people with great success. Just use the transducer pickup in the guitar and just use outboard preamp. Mark says, I picked up a Cole Clark FL2, Fat Lady 2. Miles, the CEO, looked after me as the first one I was going in to pick up died. Okay, in a flood. This isn't a question. That's my problem. I'm reading it as a question. I'm like, where's the question of this? He's telling me something. So I'm just going to tell you what he tells me. He's basically, Mark is letting us know he picked up a Cole Clark guitar, FL2, which is the Fat Lady 2. Miles, the CEO, looked after him as the first one was going in to pick up, died in a flood at the shop. So, okay. So the first one obviously was killed in a flood. He said, best acoustic I own. They're amazing guitars. Yeah, Cole Clark. If you guys aren't familiar with Cole Clark, they're a fantastic guitar company. They're like I said, made in Australia. They use a lot of woods that are indigenous to Australia, and a lot of, what do they call fair sourced, or whatever you call it, where they're basically trying to use the wood that's on, that's already fell down, stuff like that. I don't know what you call that stuff, but you guys know where I'm going with this. And one of the things I love about them, they have this philosophy that I just loved. I don't know why I love this, but I just do. They only make so many guitars. So it doesn't matter how many orders you give them. They only make so many guitars. That's just how it is. And I love that. I think that's a great way to do things. You know what I mean? It just is. Benjamin says, if you have tried one, okay, what are my thoughts on the Godin Montreal premieres? And do I plan on reviewing the new Lego Stratocaster? I saw the Lego. So Lego announced that they have a Stratocaster and an amp and stuff from Fender and stuff. I don't plan to review that, but it's cool. I wish I was into Legos. That's a thing I wish I was into. Legos look cool. I keep telling myself I needed another hobby, but I just don't have the time. But I'm going to figure out a hobby and then figure out the time one day. And maybe it'll be Legos, but it won't be today because, again, I'm 3 days behind if I'm not 10 days behind. So pure nonsense did a bird. I shouldn't say. Should I say? I got your shirt, but I couldn't wear it today because I didn't get that processed in. If that makes any sense. Weird subject to talk about for a guitar channel, but it depends on people's philosophies. I am of the philosophy that if I get new clothes, I just wear them. I did not know I was wrong, by the way, with this philosophy. I went a long time in my life. So basically, I was like, if I buy a bag of socks, I just pull the socks out and I wear them. And if I buy a shirt, I just pull the tag off and I wear it. My wife, in her amazing wisdom, has informed me that is not how things operate in the real world. What happens is you wash the clothes first and then you wear them. So Pure Nonsense sent me a shirt, but unfortunately, I cannot wear the shirt until the shirt has been washed first, even though I'm pretty sure that I can do that. So there you go. Some of you may understand. I don't know if it's a guitar channel, but maybe you guys all have strong opinions. I don't know. You know what I mean? So if anyone have a strong opinion about whether or not you're supposed to wash your clothes when they're new before you wear them, you can convey that. But in my household, clothes must be washed first. All right. Weird topics that come up sometimes. We have, what do we have? We have Curtis. Curtis says, happy Friday. To me, to you, to everyone, happy Friday. I'm not sure if you've already answered this question, but if you can only keep one amp, which would it be? Your Dirty Shirley or the Bad Cat 40R? Cheers. Well, I can tell you right now, if I was only going to have one amp, the Dirty Shirley, unfortunately, wouldn't make the list. I love it, and I could use it as a clean amp, as a dirty amp. It could do everything, but it wouldn't be in there because it doesn't have reverb. When somebody says one amp, I'm always thinking okay, that's it, no pedals. So for me, the one amp would probably be like the Bad Cat 40 for sure. Let I mean, look. I mean, yeah, I mean, seriously, it would probably be the Bad Cat 40. I mean, I'm just looking. I've actually pared down a lot of amps recently. And yeah, yeah, yeah. Bad Cat. I think the two amps right now for my that are contending for my affection. You know what I mean? There's always my golden staples. You know, my Fender's Deluxe Reverb or the Princeton. I always like them, but the amps that garner for my affection lately. The two that are been the Bad Cat 40, and I've mentioned this, right? I like the non hand wired one more, and the Bogner Ecstasy. That was my newest acquisition, and I'm really enjoying that amp. That was the if you guys saw, I reviewed the Bogner mini amp, and funny story about that was I like that amp. I did gear math. I applied the gear math to it. I didn't buy the mini. The mini they sent. They sent the mini. I tried the mini. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I didn't love it because it's only one channel. It's, it's got its purpose, but it's like, kind of smaller. It doesn't have a really clean channel, but I really liked it. And I was like, man, I would really love this if it had another channel. And so I go, I'm going to do it. And I did. I pulled the trigger on the Bogner, actually, the full-size one. And I absolutely love it. And funny enough, I played it for Ralph, my buddy Ralph, the Bogner Mini and the Bogner full-size side by side last week. Just curious. I told him, I said, I like the Mini so much that I got the full-size. And then he's asked, does it sound better than the Mini? And I'm like, I didn't even think to, yeah, I think it does. And then we A-B'd it, and they're pretty creepily sound the same. That Bogner Mini sounds really close to the full-size Bogner. Definitely, if you turn the volumes down, they almost sound identical. So it's so there you go. Clan of House Cats says, is now the best time to get into Gibson 2019 and on? Get into Gibson. Now, because we don't know, do you mean buy a guitar? Do you mean buying stock in the guitar? I should tell you a story about what happened last week. If you guys caught last week's podcast, we talked about the fact that Gibson has taken a couple of their custom shop guitars and they offered them up on an app where you can buy shares into the guitar and own a piece of the guitar. You don't own the guitar, you just own a piece, like stock in the guitar. And I kind of feel bad because I told you guys, like, I thought the idea seemed dumb and I don't think it's something I would do. And then I invested in it, and I don't know if anyone told you guys, but this week that stock split. Now, when I say it split, I mean the headstock. It fell over and it broke. Just kidding. So that was my bad joke. I was going for it. I was making it up on the fly as I was just talking right now and thinking this is going to be funny, and then it ends and I'm like, wah, wah. Anyways, so is it a good time? Is now the best time to get into Gibson 2019 and on? So I think what he's talking about is now the new Gibson company. I think Gibson is now what it was before, which is what it was before that, which is when you get a good Gibson, they are fantastic, and when you get a crappy Gibson, it's not. It's crap, and it's luck of the draw. Are they more consistent now? I have no idea. Because of COVID, I haven't put my hands consistently on them like you would be able to before. My Gibsons are all over the place. I have a 2019, I have a 2020, I have a 2016, I have a 2008, I have a 2005. So different years. I like Gibsons, and I recommend them. But like I said, you do have to kind of, you have to try them first. They are very inconsistent. Here's why I say that. They are when people talk about their blemishes or all that stuff, here's what Gibson is. Here's the problem for Gibsons for me. Their necks are very inconsistent in how they feel. You can get 20 of the same guitar and get different feels on the necks. Some are thinner than others. Some are a little thicker. Some are shaped a little harsher on the shoulder. And I find that when I find a Gibson where the neck feels exactly the way I want it to feel, I'm very connected to that instrument. And when it's not, it just can't stay. No matter what else I like about it, I just can't get the neck right. So is now a good time? I wouldn't even worry about that stuff. Gibson's going to hype the whole new company. I see no difference in the company. I mean, really. I mean, I'm sure some of the decisions to me seem the same to me. I mean, before they were like, we're going to get into home audio, and then we're going to get into robo guitars, and now they're like, hey, we're going to get into the record business, and now we're going to sell stocks and guitars. And they just, they're a company. Look, they make classic guitars that people like, and if you want one, you should get one. If you don't want one, you should buy somebody else's version of it. There's a lot of those too. So yeah, there you go. But I think they're trying really hard to convince you they're different, but I don't think they're much different than they were before. Nick, what does Nick says? Nick says, Phil, I have an Orangewood acoustic that plays amazing. The stock pickup stinks. Okay. Can I replace it? If so, what pickup system should I look at? Well, I think they use Fishman, so you might want to go to another brand like Miller Bags or something like that. It's a tough thing. Also, the problem is acoustic pickups are a little different than electric guitar pickups because I don't know what you're plugging into. So I'm a fond believer that I guess you could say this about electric guitar too. Same logic. Follow the same logic of electric guitar, but even more so on acoustic. If you were to say, hey, Phil, I'm using a crappy amp. What really nice pickup should I put in this guitar? I'd be like, you need a good amp. Then worry about the pickups, right? I'd say the same thing on acoustic. You got to make sure you have a good acoustic amp or you're using something that sounds really good before I would update those electronics. Because in my experience, the acoustic electronics do not a whole lot. Again, I don't want to downplay this. Here's why. I've said this before. You have to be a connoisseur of something to know what it's not doing for you. So reason I think about that is there are connoisseurs of acoustics, connoisseur of acoustic electronics. In other words, they're just, they know that they hear the nuances. If you have one acoustic that has electronics and you plug it in, you're not getting what you want. That doesn't just necessarily mean the electronics are bad. It just means you're not dialing them in correctly and you don't have the right stuff to plugged in. So I'm just telling you to check those things first. If you have those things, you feel confident, like your amp sounds great, it's definitely the electronics. Then, like I said, maybe you don't even have to replace the unit. Like I said, you can just use it, run it flat, and run it into a nice preamp pedal. There's a ton of them out there. The Fishman makes one. The RR system is really nice. You can get tons of LR bags. There's tons of stuff you can plug in there and get good sounds with. Pablo says, Phil, I love the channel. Keep it up. I will. He says, what are your thoughts on the aftermarket? On reverb for pedals and guitars selling for double their retail worth, especially limited runs and artist models? It's stupid. And and all I'll remind you is that some people are going to get away with it and some people are going to get kicked in the teeth with it. And here's what I mean by that. Somebody is going to use this as an opportunity to put their used guitar or amp pedal for $100, $1,000, whatever, over what the new price is, and they're going to get it. Why? Because no one listens to me. As I've reminded everybody, we don't need any of this stuff. I can't do it. There's very few things that I've had to have so badly that I would pay the premium for them. If you're of a philosophy, here's where I would say if you're justified. If you're into guitar and you own one and you have one guitar and one amp and you're thinking about adding a second guitar and this is the guitar and you've decided this is the guitar you love and you're willing to pay whatever it takes. Yeah, sure, I understand that logic. But if you're sitting on a dozen guitars and half a dozen amps or half a dozen pedals and a dozen guitars or whatever, half dozen guitars, when everyone's like, how many guitars you need? Well, you don't need any, but more importantly, you don't need to overpay for something just because you want it right now when you have other things to enjoy. I'll do it all the time. I've done it. I'll put stuff in the cart. As recently as last night, I'll put something in the cart somewhere, whether it's Reverb, a small music mom and pop store, an online chain, and I'll go, man, I really want this. And then I go, well, and maybe there's no deal on it, right? I can't get a deal or I can't, find the one I want exactly. I I go, why don't I just play the thing I have right now for a little while and see how that goes, and then wait. And what always happens is one of two things happen: I either wait it out and then I don't want it anymore, or I wait it out and I find the deal, the thing. And the deal matters to me because of the fact of, like I said, I have enough stuff. So if I'm getting something else, there's still desires, but most of my desire for wanting things comes from my work. And I don't mean as a YouTuber. I mean physically, like, man, it's been a tough week. It'd be really cool to get a new DiMarzio pickup. It's just how it's a reward for your work. So that what I'm saying is I don't think anybody should be paying over retail prices for used stuff. It's stupid, and I understand the market's dictating it, but I won't do it. I won't do it. I've been thinking about getting a twin sister amp. As you guys know, I reviewed one and I was like, I really wanted one. And everybody's been asking more than, the retail for the used ones. And then they just started getting them in stock new. And I've been watching the new ones sell for less than what everybody's asking for the used ones. So there you go. So, yeah, Smart Mama Mal says, I canceled an order for a PV Viper 2 because I no longer wanted to wait a month or never to get it. Kind of like what happened with the Spark. Same thing. Yeah, same thing. Look, I really believe, and as the market slows and adjusts, because that's what's kind of, because like I said, we're in an upswing boom of guitar sales. I think what's going to really kill companies is not having inventory on hand. I think these, I've been talking to enough companies. I've been listening to them talk. Their philosophy is really simple as a whole across all the not channels like YouTube channels, but all the channels I've talked to. They're like, oh man, if people are going to want gear, they're just going to have to wait for it and pay the price. And I'm like, man, I think what's going to happen is all it takes is a little bit of slowdown, and people aren't going to want to wait. They're not going to wait. And if you don't have in stock, you're going to lose the sell. The $1 million question is, when does that happen exactly? I don't know, but it's going to happen. If you're a manufacturer and you don't have product, it's not weird, right? Because you're thinking, no, as we slow down, you kind of don't want product in it. But I really think is if you can't fill orders immediately, that impulse buying is going to slow, because that's what happens when the market slows. The impulse buying is the first thing to slow down. And you know what I mean? You kind of need that. So, yeah. Smart Mama Mel says, yes, I do not like the pre-order crap. Yeah, well, I can see it right now. I can see the same thing, which is why I told you guys, like with pickups, I don't want anything on back order. I don't take pre-orders. If it's in stock, it goes. But of course, I'm constantly just trying to keep it in stock. Same thing. I think ultimately it will come back to bite me if I'm not ready for it. Hold on a second. Who do we have next? We have Matthew. Matthew says, here is it whittled down. Okay. E.W. Sheraton, Juggernauts. Okay. Will it work similar to your Halo? Which rocks, by the way. Really love those pickups. They split so good. Yeah, what's funny is I think it will work. The Juggernauts that I have in the Halo, which is behind me right there, I'm pointing at right here, they were a decision I made because sometimes, I like I said, everyone wants a very stamped out template, you know what I mean? And which is like, low output pickups sound vintagey, high output pickups sound, aggressive and modern. High output pickups are for metal, low output pickups are, and it doesn't work like that way at all. There's all kinds of reasons why I like certain pickups. Some pickups I like that are low output, they sing. Some pickups I like are more aggressive. The Juggernauts, to me, are aggressive, kind of pickups for metal maybe, but to me they do something magical on a hollow body, semi-hollow style guitar. So yeah, I think it's I think we're going down the right road. I like your road. Went down it myself. Mike says, hey, Phil, Donner Noise Killer mutes my entire signal when placed after drive pedals, but works fine in the loop. Freeman Twin Sister amp. What gives? Thanks. Yeah, that's weird. I have never really tried a Donner pedal, so I don't know. Like I said, I reviewed 2 of their guitars, and the guitars were fine, but like I said, I know I've seen some videos, like I've not seen the videos, but I've seen the thumbnails and stuff where YouTubers have done Donner pedals. I haven't tried them. So that sounds to me like your stuff's not working. I mean, it sounds like it's broken. It's just weird to me because I would think it would work the exact opposite. That it would work at the end of the pedals and then not work in the effects loop in that theory, because maybe it's just choking everything down too much. But I don't know. Like I said, I have not. Donner never reached out to really do a pedal video. When they sent the last guitar, we talked briefly in email about doing a Donner pedal, and then it just fell through. So unfortunately, I have no experience with their pedal line, so I don't know if they have any quirks or anything, but hopefully somebody in the comment section can tell you if there's quirkiness to them. For noise gates and stuff, I like the ISP decimator. It's really expensive. Even used, it's in the $100 range, but I use the Boss noise gate, and I love it for what it does. So I haven't tried a whole lot of other companies' noise gates. Chad says, I'm curious what your favorite amp and pedal models are inside the Spark. So the Spark is, I told you guys this before, multi-effects amps and pedals are useless for me as a whole because I have no desire to have different sounds. Different sounds is the only time that applies to me in my life is the YouTube channel. Like, oh, I need a rock sound for this video and a blues sound and a metal sound, and I'll do that. And I'll go through sounds and I'll do that. And that's why I have some amps. You know what I mean? I mean, let's be clear. Like you guys watch my videos, you'll know, like, oh, here's the Dirty Shirley. That's my rock sound. Oh, clean. You want the Fender tone. Oh, metal. I'm going to do the Ingle. That's not because I feel like I have to have those 3 amps. That's not something I would normally have if it wasn't for a YouTube channel. That's literally work related 100%. There is nothing in my brain ever pre-YouTube that's ever made me go, I need a good metal, clean, and rock amp tone. Like, I just never wanted that. So the reason I say that is on the Spark, what I use it for, or what I use is, I don't know what presets I'm using because I'm still using the same sounds the day I got the Spark from them, which was over a year ago. I'm using the first setting, which is clean, and I'm using the gained up with a lot of a little bit of delay and a little bit of, I was going to say a lot, but it's probably more than a little reverb and delay. I get this kind of weird Eric Johnson-y sound out of the amp. It's a little muffled. Like Eric Johnson's got a lot of, he's got a lot of like Eric Johnson's tone's creamy and great, but it's kind of got this covered up tone. I love it, but it's this weird sound where it's like a little muted, I guess is how I'd put it. Like a blanket over the sound a little bit. I don't know. Some of you guys may not hear it that way. Like I said, everybody's ears are a little different. And that's the sound I like on the Spark. I have really not explored a whole lot of other sounds. I've messed with maybe, like I said, for the video, and then after the video, maybe once or twice for something. I've messed with, different amp tones and stuff that they had. But that's the sound I like in it, and that's the sound I kind of stick with. So, yeah, I know it's kind of boring, but... And then when I had it up in my bedroom, I was using a pedal in front of it, but it's been in the shop so long, shop downstairs, that I just use it without a pedal because I don't have any place to put pedals. 40 Grit says, thoughts on the 2021 PRS SE, nice pink, one local, might pull the trigger. So obviously he's talking about the Bonnie Pink one. I love that guitar. I don't know what it is about Bonnie Pink PRSs. If you're not familiar with it, this one I think is even cooler because technically when you see a Bonnie Pink PRS core guitar or private stock, they have that pink wood top, and then the sides and the back are like Pepto pink. They're like painted, just pink. And the SE, they just left the back and sides natural, which I think actually looks better. I like the idea of a pink PRS SE. So yeah, I like, the policy on the channel is if you think, should you buy a guitar, the answer is always gonna be yes. But what was I gonna say? The guitar is cool, is what I'm trying to say. I do have an SE coming for review. But it's not that one. So there you go. Todd Tech says, for a musician, joke of the day. You mean I got to tell a joke? Because that wasn't a joke. I don't have a joke. Let me tell you a story. Here's a story. The first band I was ever in, it was kind of a horrible experience. Here's why. My girlfriend left me for the drummer, and they left. And it really like traumatized me because you know how hard it is to find a good drummer? Anyways. All right. We're going to call that bad joke of the day. Okay, I want to try to grab some non-super chat stuff, see what you guys are talking about. Oh, green. What are you talking? Oh, I can't tell you. Surfby says the Spark is a great couch amp. I agree. Like I said, I like the Spark a lot. It's a great little amp. I mean, I still like it. I still have it. I've had no desire to get rid of it at all. It does everything I like. It's a great little amp. They're pricey now. I saw they're on Sweetwater for like $3 something now. Woo. So yeah, there was, everybody who bought it early got a really big discount. They got aggravation for it, but at least that was a deal because they were a far cry cheaper. When I did that video on the Spark, I know for a fact I think you could pick one up for $225 when I first did that video. And so now I think they're like $350. So that's a pretty good jump. And again, if anyone's trying to direct anything towards me, do a question mark at the beginning so I know it's actually up to me. Rogue Dog Max says, what brand of guitar hanger or stand is supposedly okay for nitrocellulose finishes? My current stand specifically said it's not safe. Like I've said this before, the official statement from String Swing is that they will not say that they're 100% safe because they don't want to be liable for it. I understand that, right? They're a small company. String Swing's made in the USA. There's no weird importing and stuff. They're making this stuff in the USA and they're a small business. But I use String Swing, and I tell you this, this is what I can tell you. Again, take it as an endorsement, if you will. Like I said, I'm not a paid sponsor. I'm not, but I will tell you this. I use zither stands, which is behind me. There's one behind me right there, and that Gibson's on it, which uses zither stands are made in the USA, and they use String Swing. I use String Swing. All my wall hangers are String Swing. I use the String Swing side stand for my guitars. I have used these actual hangers. Some of these hangers are 20 years old. Okay. Most of them are at least 10 years old. So I've had them for quite a while, and I literally leave my guitars on them, and I have nitro guitars, and I have, all kinds of nitro guitars, all kinds of guitars. I have never, ever had a problem. So that's all I can tell you is I've never had a problem. So as an endorsement goes, that's as good as endorsement as I can give as anybody, is that they make good stuff and I've never had a problem with it. So there you go. That's my, and I think I've told you guys this before. I like them so much. I trust them so much that when we had the store, I used String Swing in the store, which costs 3 times more than the average wall hangers you can buy in the retail environment. So it was a very big expense for me to do that, to guarantee that, because I feel confident with them. So that's why I did it. I put them in my store. It was very expensive. I mean, like I said, it was at least 3 to 5 times more expensive than if I went with another brand. At that number, I mean, we were talking, 1,000 pegs, I think. Well, it was like 700 pegs total. It was a lot. It was nuts between the back and the front. How are we doing? See, we have another super chat. Let me grab that real quick. Nope. Maybe. Okay, so let's do this for time purposes. 6 String Steve is the last super chat of the day, so I'll catch up those real quick. Because it looks like they just kind of loaded me up some and I didn't know. Fret Level Midnight, what's up, buddy? He says, Fret Level Midnight says, put bare knuckle crawler in my Godin Session HSS along with Octoc Angels, Octave Doctors, Angels, opinions on the bare knuckle pickup. Ever try them? In my opinion, not all scatter wounds are made equally. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, pickups, pickups are two problems. First, design. How do you get a pickup to do something you want it to do? Everybody's like, I love when comments are always like, because everybody gets this. I'm sure Lawrence makes pedals, he gets it with pedals. Everybody gets it's easy. I can make a pedal for $1. I love it when everybody's like, I can make that amp for 50 cents. Everybody can make something super easy. Pickups get it probably more so than others. Like I can make a pickup super easy. You can. It's easy. You can physically wind a pickup pretty easy. However, it's about getting a pickup to do something you want it to do is really tricky. Get more highs, get more lows, be more balanced. Then the real magic is how do you duplicate that over and over again? And so, yes, you're right. Scatterwound they're not all equal, and they can't be, and keeping consistency is really problematic. Companies like Bare Knuckles, I think, are very consistent. They make good quality pickups. I think a lot of times the pickup companies that are the most successful aren't the magic ones; they're the consistent ones, for sure. So back to the question: have I ever tried the bare knuckle pickups? I have on the pickups, and the crawler I have, the night crawlers I have a set of those. I don't know what guitar it is, but that was the first set I ever got from Bare Knuckles. So I think you're going down the right road. I think it would pair nicely also with the Octave Doctor pickups. That particular pickup with his pickups, especially if you go with the 60s style one. Music Therapy Laz says, hey, Phil, I'll be in your area in about a week on vacation. Hope you still like leather. Let's meet at Zim's. That's funny. That's old school now. I hope you like leather. Let's meet at Zim's. I had a couple of you guys reach out and ask about, if you're going to be in the area, can we meet up? I'm totally up to do that all the time. My only issue is in October, I have two things happening. It sucks because everybody's talking about it now, probably because, a little bit of releasing of the COVID stuff right now. Everybody's getting out a little bit more. But here's the thing. I've been literally trapped at home this entire time. So, I could have meet up with anybody anytime. But in October, I have a weird thing that might be happening the first week of October. Weird meaning it's not firm other than I have to keep that schedule open in case I have to travel. And then in the last week of November, I'm going to be traveling. And again, those are two arrangements I made. They're just not firmed up, but I already obligated myself to be available for that. The reason I tell you that is, barring those two situations, I'm totally up to meeting you at Zim's. And anybody talking about being in town, saying hi, of course, come say hi. I'll come meet you. We'll come, wherever. Just we'll be safe. Do all the things we can do to be safe. No hugging. Because the hugging wasn't going to happen anyways. Just, this is going to guarantee it. But yes. Where did he say? He said in about a week. Yeah, like I said, I don't foresee myself anywhere. So Music Therapy Laz, you can email me. Like I remember I told you guys about emailing me. The important thing is in the subject. Because if you put meet up, I'll know. I'll see it when I see it, scan through it. And I'll put it in a folder. My wife's been helping with me emails lately, and it's been really, like I said, she's helping. It's great. Matthew says, I bet lots of fans would love to sponsor a review Sharpen by covering the shipping. Example, I want the EW Sheraton 335 SG or Les Paul Trad Pro V to be the juggernauts in. I would purchase and ship both ways. Yes, the issue has been the shipping. This has been the discussion. I actually have two viewers' guitars right now for Sharp Max, and they are footing the bill for the parts and stuff, right? And that was the most logical decision about this idea. The Sharp Max decision, Sharp Max idea for the video series has always been the core of it when we started it. The idea was not so much to show you guys how you mod a guitar. The excitement was a viewer's guitar was going to be sent to me. I was going to do crazy things to it, whatever I like. And then you get to see that, and then maybe that'd be fun. the problem was, like I said, the sponsorship got jacked. Well, here's the good news. I have a sponsor now because I'm self-sponsored. I basically, that's the best way to put it. I have self-sponsoring, right? So I can sponsor, whether through the Patreon fund or through the Blackstock company is sponsoring videos, because that's another company I have, and that's what I do with those funds. I basically go, hey, that's a company, and I can pay to advertising. The problem with that has been the shipping. The shipping has been the biggest problem right now. We were talking about defective guitars. Crazy shipping problems have been scaring me into 6 levels of insanity. I've had every horrible shipping disaster you can think of happening, getting and receiving in the last year, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate. This has been really making me nervous. So shipping people's guitars. If you guys saw this week's video, I did the School of Rock Guitar. That was the first prototype of that guitar. We had to ship that to California because, like I said, they just shipped that to me. It had to go back. We paid, I think it was like $356 was the business, because I have a business account FedEx charge to overnight that guitar to California, because we were concerned of it getting damaged because things happening. So the answer to your question is yes, I'd love to do that. Just trying to get the shipping things figured out. I just don't, it's one of those things. I got to prioritize it. And hearing comments like yours, seeing, super chats like this, it definitely puts a fire into my butt to go, okay, I will work out that problem. Because I think once I do, and I am doing it, like I said, you'll see in the next couple of videos, there's 3 Sharp Max coming, and they're all 3 are shipping. No, one's not. One's local. One's local and 2 are shipping back and forth. So we're back to that. I'm working it through it. Music Therapy Last says, faster than an email, worth $5. Yes. Yeah, well, here on the show, we get my attention pretty fast. Doug Green says, hey, Phil, the neck on my dad's 1960s Martin is separating from the body slightly. Yeah, that's common. We were thinking of gluing it. Try it. Send it somewhere. Thanks. Well, here's what you have to do. You have to decide what... Well, let me put it to you this way. You have to decide what the guitar is worth to you and what it's worth to be done right. Without seeing it, I can tell you right now, because I'm not seeing it, I'm going to give you my guess. My guess is that they're not going to just shove glue in there to fix that. How we would fix that is, again, just not looking at it, just guessing from what you're describing, that issue. We would most likely, obviously remove the strings. Then we would use a... I don't know what you call it. Heated spatula, basically. I have a little tool. It's electric. And so horrible, right? Don't trust me with your stuff. I can't even name the tool. Anyways, we delaminate the fretboard off the body, and then we basically steam everything out, and I pull it apart, and then clean everything out, and then we re-glue it back in. I don't do a whole lot of that stuff. I've done a bunch of them, but essentially I focus more on more of the setups and more of the electronics and more of that stuff. That's more of the stuff that's more what I specialize in. But I've done every kind of crazy thing from, you name it, I've done it and continue to kind of still do it. But in your case, if you have any sentimental values of the guitar, if you have everything, I would see about having somebody qualified do it. To me, it's probably going to be worth the money. That's the best way I would think about it. I would not just shove glue in there and just clamp it. That's not what I would do with that guitar, not a 1960s Martin. That's just my thought on it. And it might be an opportunity now to get other stuff done to the guitar, maybe get a little love, a little service. Sometimes guitars need to be looked at too. It's nice to also have somebody in there and look at the bracing, look at all the other issues the guitar might have, or better yet, might be on the start of having, and catch them before it gets too expensive too. So there's a lot of benefits to having somebody look at it. Very least, have somebody look at it. So... Jansen says, hey, Phil, I've got a Yamaha Revstar with P90s that plays great, but the pickups are a bit dark and high output for me. They can't, yeah, P90s, that sounds so, okay. What are your thoughts on lower winded P90s versus mini humbuckers, fibered pickups for replacements? Sure. Well, don't forget, you can always adjust the height. That's the only thing. Every time I talk about anything, everybody's in the comments are always like, make sure you adjust the height. I always assume that's done, but maybe I got to just say that from now on. So make sure you're playing with the height of the pickups, especially on the P90s, not just lowering them or raising them, but also tilting them slightly, especially if they're darker. You may want to get the treble side of that pickup a little bit higher than the bass side and get, maybe capture some of that string stuff, higher string frequencies. But back to your thing, yeah, lower output pickup P90s will make a big difference. I don't know what Yamaha is putting in the rev stars. I don't know how hot they are, but I would definitely put a multimeter on them and check them and see what they're at. P90s typically are punchy, high output pickups because, that's the whole point of P90s, get a lot of whines on that thing. The mini humbuckers, in my experience, I think they sound great, but they will generally be warmer than most P90s. And it sounds to me like you really want the more brighter kind of sparkly tones. So that's what I would think about. So that's something to suggest. Okay, Jeff. What does Jeff want? Jeff says, hey, Phil, stay away from Legos. They are addicting. I would imagine. I already know I have a friend who collects Legos, and I watched him go down the rabbit hole. And he spends what we spend in guitars and Legos, if not more, for sure. Probably more. Magic Man says, hey, Phil, thanks for all the great content. I'm currently looking at a Gibson with demo stamped on the inside of the headstock. What does that mean? For instance, right now at the Gibson demo shop on Reverb, they have a Gibson ES339 in red at I think a reasonable price, $2,100, a very cool guitar, and it's got demo stamped in it. So demo is, obviously it was probably used to in reviews. They could have stamped demo because it was sent to Guitar World, a bunch of places, like maybe sent to multiple reviewers, multiple magazine companies for, or maybe it was used by an artist for demonstration. All those things it's essentially going to be the same as B stock or second at this point. It was used, but it's not new. It will probably come with, if the ones on, if you're buying it straight from Gibson, they'll give you a 2-year warranty, but that warranty is covering factory defects, not actual damage or, blemishes and stuff to the guitar. So only what would be factory defect. So that's kind of what it means. Just think of it's no different to a reseller, right? In other words, to you, if you buy it and then when you sell it the next time, what are you going to have to do? You're going to basically have to explain it's basically like a B stock or a second. Although it might not have a deficiency, it was just used. So, I've actually seen used stamped into guitars as well as demo for that same purpose, because it was just to say it was used. I think demo's a little better. You know what I mean? Because it was obviously an instrument used to demonstrate. Sometimes I've seen them stamp demo, not Gibson, but I've seen companies stamp demo in a guitar that was used for all the photos and the catalogs and stuff. They just used it for everything, and it went to a professional photographer to be photoed, and there's some back and forth, and it was used in videos and again, demonstrated and reviewed. So that's basically what it means. So, I don't know what the downside of it is. I mean, it's not going to command the same as one that doesn't have demo. But it's not a huge thing. You know what I mean? It's not it doesn't devalue the guitar to nothing. It's just, it's not the same as perfect. But you shouldn't be paying the same as price either. Chris says, I got a KWG swag pack today. Lots of great stuff. Vinyl decal is going on the bass drum head. Oh, cool. So you got the swag pack. So my wife makes those. It's the coolest feeling I get. I'm only a part of the one part where I usually write the message and sign the cards, and then my wife puts together the pack, and it's literally based on, like I said, I give her credit for this the swag packs. She came up with that idea, which I love, which is it's everything I like that's in the swag pack. So depends on what pack you get. We have different level ones, you know what I mean, for the patrons. Some are just stickers and cards and stuff, and some are like, they come with like straps or picks or tuners, but it's all stuff I use. That's the cool part. And it's all brand new, but it's all the stuff I use. So she went through everything I use, and not physically I reviewed. It's not stuff that I mentioned. It's stuff she went through, and she's like, okay, I see 6 of these and you use them every day. This is something you use. She figured out what I actually use and like, and she replicated that. So Chris, basically what I'm trying to say is you got to give her credit for it. Because it's all her. So there you go. Sean says, hey, Phil, thanks again for keeping the info coming. Is the Bogner Mini quiet enough for bedroom or apartment amp use? Yeah, it's quiet. It'll get really quiet. You can understand. All it is, I said in my video, all it is, it's true. It's the red Bogner pedal, the Ecstasy pedal, that they obviously packaged into a box with a Class D power amp. And so it's just no different than if you were to plug that pedal into a little Class D power amp or into any solid state type amplifier. You know, it's exactly, look, that's what I like those mini heads. Why? Because they're exactly what they basically say they are. There's something for us to geek out on, buy, because it's collectible, it's different, it's fun. I love somebody said in a few years they won't be worth anything. That's probably could be true. What I do find is this. A lot of companies have done this deal. Like obviously Joyo's done it. You know, obviously Orange has done it. Who else has done like the micro heads, right? Hughes and Kettner, right? Everybody's done it. Ultimately, that's what I thought about was, you know, everybody was like, oh, the Hotone ones, the hot ones, those little hot one amps are awesome. The little teeny ones. A lot of companies have done this before. The only thing that's the appeal of this is you know what they're going to sound like because they are the pedals. The BE Mini, I'm looking at it right now. The BE Mini head is the BEOD. That's it. It's that pedal, right? The one that's coming out this month, it's the pedal. Look, if you want to figure out what amps they're going to do next, I can't tell you because they told me not to tell you, but I'm sure some of you can figure it out and some of you know the answer already, which ones are doing next. Go look at what pedals they make. Preamps, amps. My guess is they're not doing, you know, they may do all those, they may do some of those, but that'll give you an idea. So back to the Bogner. So the Bogner sounds like the pedal and it gets very quiet. Absolutely. You can play it quiet. I think that's its appeal. I mean, I think as a reviewer / demoer on the channel, I had to play into the whole, hey, you could use this for a small gig, because I think that's something that a lot of people are going to ask me about, you know what I mean? So you just hit that. But ultimately, what I think they're going to be used for is, look, I know what they're used for. So what I'm using it for, I put it on a little cabinet, and I was playing through it quiet, and it's fun, because I'm like, I'm playing a Bogner. I couldn't, you know, I never played a Bogner before. Now I have a Bogner. It's kind of cool. Same thing with the Freeman. I don't have a Freeman. I have a Freeman. And I said in my video, you could get the pedal and stick that through a Class D power amp, like a little pedal, and recreate the whole thing, and it's the same. Although, and that's why I think they priced it the way they priced it. They priced it based on the same thing. They're not going to price it the same price as the Joyo, and because they're a boutique brand of amplifiers, so they're not going to be the same price as Joyo. That doesn't make any sense. And they're not going to price it lower than the actual pedal on a power amp pedal, because again, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Even though they are less than that, you know what I mean? Not much less than that. So yeah, you can play it quiet mini, have fun with it. The only thing I will tell you is that, you know, if you're thinking about collecting them all, that could be fun. If you're thinking about getting one or two, that could be fun. I will tell you that if you can probably figure out what the next one is, because I've seen it already leaked all over the internet. Even though it's leaked, I actually just, for the class of the fact I told them I wouldn't divulge it, I'm not going to say, even though you can find it everywhere leaked. Pictures of the new one, the one that's coming next. But I can tell you it's coming the end of the month. I have not gotten it yet. They told me they are sending me that one next. So I mean, I can't tell you, but, and then there's another one after that, but I just don't have, like I said, my understanding is there's probably 5 of them. There could be 10 when they're all done. Depends on how well they do. But, so I'm just telling you, because again, I care about you guys' money, just as like it was my money. It's a cool thing, and if you're only going to get one, I might wait to see what else comes out, because there's cool ones. From the ones I've seen, I think the Bogner is probably my favorite so far of the bunch, to what I think's coming out. But not by much. The other ones are pretty cool. And to other players, the other ones might be cooler. Hal says, Epiphone. It's like it's Epiphone. Epiphone. I have a brand new worn purple Les Paul. I will ship back and forth to get a review exactly as bought from AMS. And again, I appreciate that, and I love the idea. Trust me, tapping into the audience to get product on the channel makes the most sense to me. But the shipping thing is a concern. And what I say by that is, here's what logistically the problem is. First of all, you have to ship the guitar to me. in 90% of the time, 90, I was trying to say 90% of the cases, 90% of the cases, 90% of the time, I can't ship the guitar back to you in the same box. It's not a good strategy, by the way. You should, cardboard breaks down, okay? So I need to put it in a new box and ship it back to you. You see what I'm saying? And the process becomes very lengthy. Like I said, just the one I just did for School Rock, the process is lengthy. It has to come to me. I have to rebox it. I had to double box it in that box because, again, their box was broken down a little bit. Double box it, repack it. Then I have to, do just like you guys do. I got to weigh it, measure it, go and find all the quotes, online. I have, FedEx stuff, kind of find the price, label it, and then I have to drive it down to the FedEx facility. And then it sounds like I'm making a big deal out of nothing because I kind of feel that way right now, but it's actually not. It's few hours. By the way, that sending that guitar back probably took about an hour and a half. May not sound like a big deal, but in my day, if you're trying to work an 8-hour day, I just lost an hour and a half, 2 hours. So like I said, some of that stuff becomes problematic, but mostly just having the boxes on hand. So again, I like that you guys suggest this stuff, and I definitely want to do it. I just need to figure that out. I thought, like a lot of the world, by now we would be on the tail end or the back end of this COVID disaster to the point where now we could open up resources. I just don't have any resources right now. I'm still kind of like a lot of you. I'm at my house and I'm minimizing my exposure to people. You know what I mean? For all the reasons you're doing it. Mike says, "Hey Phil, I love Schecter. Great bang for the buck. Just got a PT special. Great guitar. Crummy electronics and pickups. Are they worth replacing? Only cost $600. Sure, I love Schecter guitars. And the PT is one of my favorite ones, which is basically the Pete Townsend model. And sure, replacing the electronics, I think it's great. The guitars, I think they play great. I think they feel great. Pickups will make a huge difference. And again, you just already did the math. It's not a huge commitment in price to the pickups and compared to the guitar. This is the last one for the day. This is 6-String Steve. Oh, and by the way, then we'll end with, I watched 6-String Samurai twice. So 6-String Steve says, which amp under 50 watts would you recommend for tone ranges of beautiful cleans, blues, and rock guitar tones? Rock, okay, blues, rock, and clean. Fender Deluxe Reverb, Twin Reverb, or Bad Cat, or other? Like, I don't know. I like the Fender Deluxe Reverb. That's a great amp. It's a classic amp. It's $1,500 now. Did you see the price jump? That was pretty nuts. I mean, because you're saying clean blues and classic rock. That to me is the Bad Cat. The clean on that amp's great. I like that it gets the rock. I like that it gets the blues. I like the Bad Cat guys. I like the, John. I like the company. I like, like I said, I like the way they make the amps in California. The Twin Reverb is also good. The Twin to me is a different animal. Okay, so the Twin is its own animal, and so I don't consider that amp. To me, it's the Deluxe Reverb and the Bad Cat. If I was going to get a Bad Cat or a Deluxe Reverb, now I would say, I want to be very clear, because I'm going to say the Bad Cat, and I know a lot of you are going to probably, because I would think this too, like, oh, it's because Bad Cat and him just started working together because they sent me the Bad Cat. I didn't buy the Bad Cat. John sent it. That was very nice of him. Although, because I think he deserves this credit, I was trying to buy one. I was going to buy it, and then he sent it. So, and so that, like I said, that tells you that I was excited to do it. But that being said, right now, if you can find a Deluxe Reverb used at a good price, I love that amp. I don't think you can go wrong. But I just recently seen that they're $1,500 new now. That's pricey. That's a pricey amp. But I like the Bad Cat for the rock tones. The Deluxe Reverb, to me, you're going to have to get a pedal to get the rock tones. Or crank that sucker, and it's going to hurt. That thing, you have to crank it to get it to break up. Okay, why did that... 6-String Samurai. So a lot of you guys suggested I watch 6-String Samurai. I watched it not last Saturday, the Saturday before. Something kind of funny to the story. Me and Ralph watched it. We both enjoyed it. We both... it's free on YouTube if you want to watch it. We both watched it for free on YouTube. And then I watched it the following week to watch it again because I just thought it was funny and I enjoyed it. And then I guess Ralph did too. He told me later. Funny enough, what I learned from that was Michael Nielsen from Big Hairy Guitars, that channel. You guys seen him on this channel. He makes great videos. Please check out his channel. He played guitar on that. He's actually in the credits at the end, and so he did that, and so that was kind of cool, right? But I enjoyed it. It's campy, it's weird, it's strange, but I liked it. So. All right. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else we can end on before we go. Hold on one second. Yeah. Okay. Tapio just did super chat to say hi, so I want to address that. And then Hal said, willing to send you an Epiphone for review. I will cover the cost, which is something we talked about earlier. Yes. We got to figure that out. Like I said, it's not something I've been working on, trying to figure out. It's something I like the idea of. But I know a lot of you are willing to do that. I even had local people do it too. I'm on it. If you guys notice, I have, in the last few months, I've increased the amount of content coming out. And there's even more content speeding up. I'm actually getting more out. That's another thing too. Catching up and then getting stuff out. So. All right. On that note, I think we're going to call it. I think we did a good show. By the way, one thing I got to say more and more is we did this. You guys are the guests on this show. It's kind of fun, right? It's just you and me. And I love it when people are like, you should always have these guests, get a guest on the show. And I'm always like, I have guests. It's all of you guys. And I appreciate you guys every week hanging out. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. I like sometimes do a last minute scan. So on that note, I think we're going to call it. On this weekend, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you guys do something fun. I hope you play guitar as well, because that's part of it. And then I will see you guys next Friday at the same time. As always, thank you guys so much for your time, and know your gear.